welcome back. A new week, a new NACE weekly match. We have of course, Truman University.
TSU!
Yeah.
Surprise, I'm in the room.
Versus
Southern Alberta Institute of Technology? Institute of Technology, yes. So a Canadian team.
Yeah, a Canadian team. I wasn't even aware that we could be playing a Canadian team, but I'm excited.
Yeah. So the whole structure of NACE is that it is broken up into divisions by the average rank of your team, and then also by the region. So you play roughly at the same time. So Alberta, obviously, it's in like the central time zone. We're in the same time zone as Alberta.
Yeah.
Other teams, like let's say you were in Maine, for instance, you'd play against an eastern team. There's a western block too. Not to allude to that.
Block.
Yeah, the western block, but there's a western section too. I don't know if there's a mountain region, but I think all of the west is probably one region, and then we have central and we have eastern. So Alberta, of course, roughly right above us here in Little Missouri. So yeah. Well, I mean, it's an average-sized state, But nevertheless, I think we're going to have a really interesting game here. I'm kind of excited for this game. There's a little bit of some changes, but do we want to talk about Truman first here, or do we want to talk about Southern Alberta? Because I think,
I think we've definitely discussed a lot about what's going on with Truman.
Yep.
I think we need to address what's going on with Alberta.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I mean, where do we want to start? Do we want to ramble through the ranks here that we're seeing, give some ideas about what's going on? Do we want to talk about the picks?
I think we go through their ranks, and then we should figure out what's kind of going on with that, because it's a little bit different because the new season has just started.
Yeah. Well, not a new season, a new split.
A new split.
Yes.
So for Alberta, their team is a little bit lower than what we would usually expect, especially out of both of their iron players, which that is their should be their mid. Wait.
This mid and jungle. Yeah.
Mid and jungle. Yeah. Their mid and jungle, which usually it seems like they're hovering around silver to bronze.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably expect a little bit more play out of that way, not as much iron play as their actual rank is giving.
Yep.
And we definitely see that they played a little more games to try and get that caught up.
Yeah, just a few more. I mean, the thing that you're seeing from this bracket and this NACE group specifically, if I remember correctly, it is either gold. I believe it's gold 1 and below. So your team average needs to be gold 1 or below. There's another bracket, I think, that's specifically for silver 1 and below, so at least one up from that. So we're seeing both teams are going to be an average of about gold 1, and that has to do with all members of your team. Of course, Truman has its main 5, the main roster, and then has 3 substitutes. To the last of my knowledge, they have a silver 4 substitute. I want to say unranked or silver substitute, and then one that is iron 3 or iron 2. So the average of it is that's basically what you're looking at. But for Southern Alberta, you've got a jungler who hovers around iron 3, iron 2. You've got a mid laner which is about iron 1. Top laner, of course, that's pretty average. Gold 1 is about where they hover, and then your bot lane, you've got the gold player in support, and then the other player usually hovers around silver. So that's kind of what we're expecting. Roughly skill-wise, of course, you can't always predict where League is going to put you whenever a split resets. Yeah. Some people went way lower, some people went way higher. I know, we can see just from here, we're used to seeing Bees and Horse be up in Platinum or around Emerald. Yeah. Meliora is usually a Platinum player. Halo is usually, previously has been at least Bronze 1, if not Silver 4. And then a big fall from Luma. Luma was at least Platinum last season, or last split. So, it's a big drop. But I really don't think there's anything to be afraid of. I think if you can reach those heights, there's a reason that you're up there, because you can't coin flip. You can coin flip a lot of wins in a row, but to be consistent, and I think that's the difference here.
Yeah. And then we're also seeing from Southern Alberta is that not as much games, in the split, not as many games played, so we don't have as much information when it goes that way for their top laner and what is their support?
For which one?
Sorry, their top laner and their bot laner.
Their bot laner.
Yeah,
Okay,
we don't have too much information when it goes that way. They only have a few games in, and I don't think that is indicative of anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're definitely going to see some good gameplay from both teams here.
Yep.
And I'm just interested in how this match is going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going into it, Truman seems to have the advantage if you're just looking at the raw skill numbers.
Yeah.
You have to take into account, I mean, if you want to take into account records for both of these teams, Truman's currently 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
We've watched both of those games. We'd see both of those games play out.
Yeah.
Southern Alberta is 1-2. And the reason for that is, I believe Maryville Academy, the team that we played on the very first game, had to end their season early. I don't know the details of it, but at least if something's going on there, like, of course we want to wish them the best. Hopefully nothing terrible is happening,
yeah.
or maybe they only had 5 players and one of them couldn't play. Either way, like, we wish the best to them.
Yeah.
We had a good game with them, and I would love to see them again, maybe next season, of course. So.
Yes.
So every team outside of Truman and the team that they played first automatically gets a win. And Maryville had actually already lost one game, so everybody has received a win from Maryville just because of Truman beating them and then everything else going on. So basically, you can cut off a win off of everybody,
yeah.
And that's the actual record that they're participating in this season.
Yeah.
7 games are going to be the total that you're going to play. There's 8 people in the conference, -1, 7 victories that you can get, or 7 losses that you can get. So everybody's on that kind of even playing field. So if you went into it with that perspective, both of these teams, Truman would be 0-1,
yeah.
And then Southern Alberta would be 0-2.
Yes.
So that's basically what we're looking at if you want to go down that route. So there's not, we're kind of at this perspective, and of course we're kind of just kicking around time until the draft is done. One of these days, once we get a little bit more advanced in the technical capabilities of the stream, we're going to be looking at trying to get visual on what's happening in the draft instead of just seeing it happen as time goes on. Yeah. But for now, they're currently doing a draft phase on another client, just so both teams have more than enough time. They don't have to pick really late and things like that. And so, honestly, I think that's to the advantage of both teams to be able to go through those draft phases and have the amount of time that they're looking for. But basically, we're just waiting for the beginning of this game.
Yeah. From the standpoint of Truman, I'm expecting probably a little bit of the same build and comp that they have been going with.
Mm-hmm.
I know Truman is definitely going into this game with the mentality that they not only do they want to win this, that they can and they will win this. I remember overhearing the coach for Truman talking to his players before the game and saying, we have to go in with the mentality that we're winning. Otherwise, then we aren't going to win.
Right, exactly. I think you have to approach every game like that. And now with the ban phase going to go ahead and start out here, I'm gonna take over and do some analysis on these bans here. So we see the Aatrox ban from Truman. That's a very popular thing for Southern Alberta's top laner. We see the Amumu ban, of course, Halo, very popular on the Amumu, so we'd imagine to see that. The Vayne ban also targeting their top laner, and the Gwen ban on Truman is going to be targeting both Luma and Halo there. We're going to see the Rel ban, which is targeting the support, which makes sense, and then we're going to see the Mordekaiser ban also trying to target out Luma. I kind of see the strategy that they're going there. I think they recognize that Luma has a really strong playstyle in top lane and can be the catalyst that makes Truman go over that little hump to get the victory. We're seeing Yone pick top. We're seeing a Maokai jungle on the side of Southern Alberta, which kind of plays into their style. They really want to take a lot of fights. And contrary to that, we're going to see a Shen top, which is very strong going across the board. That ability to be able to use Stand United to teleport to any part of the map is very, very strong. Seeing the Kindred, stealing the Syndra. Syndra's a very popular pick for Southern Alberta's mid laner, so I'm interested that we stole the Syndra there. Seeing the Fury, the mid laner is kind of like, they like playing really big, flashy, super hard hitting burst champions, and Nefir kind of plays into that with the assassin mentality, right? We see the ban for the Ivern on Halo once again, banning out the jungle champs that he's most comfortable with. That's okay, he already picked. We know how the draft works, so they're not doing this in real time. If they were, that would be kind of insane to see that ban, so... The Camille ban, again, really, really targeting Luma there. Another top lane ban. If you look at this is 3 champions in the mid lane and then 2 champions in at least the jungle. So Southern Alberta came into this saying, we need to target top and top and jungle. I think their thought process is, we beat this bot lane.
I think their thought process is, we beat this bot lane. And I'm not so sure. I want to see the picks that come out of Bees and Horse before I make any assertions that way.
Yep, absolutely.
But I'm very confident in Truman's ability to overcome that hump that Alberta is trying to impose on them by canceling out any leverage that Truman has when it comes to the top or the jungle. But I think Truman definitely can overcome that burden and really shine in this game. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think Truman's draft is pretty standard for what Truman looks to do. You've got a very strong front line, and you've got very strong carries that you can protect and that have a little bit of peel for themselves. Obviously, you're going to be able to do some knockbacks on the Syndra. Kindred, of course, has got her ultimate, and then Varus, he's got the slow on his W, if I remember correctly. That's the ability, and then of course his ultimate's very strong. So Truman's team is looking very strong in team fights, but also individually, I think they're much stronger. In certain connotations. The Yone is going to be strong. Maokai is pretty weak on his own. Then the Fury is going to be strong if you can get onto somebody squishy. Caitlyn, of course, you're going to win most ranged matchups, but being able to position is the most important thing there. And the Lux, of course, is going to make that much easier. Into the drafts are all finished. We see all the bans. We see all the picks. So, I mean, is there anything that jumps out to you specifically about either team that you're kind of thinking oh, this is going to be really good, oh, this is going to be really bad?
I think very specifically, we have seen Truman play against a comp that is very similar to this in the Maryville game, where they had a Poppy up top and the rest of their team were squishy damage dealers that they were looking to do a lot of damage and try and just melt what Truman had.
Right.
I think this might be sort of a similar situation where they have the one proper tank in Maokai, which Maokai is very good. Especially depending on which players playing them. We saw that in Truman's last game, where in that very first match, Maokai was one of the very important parts of that team's comp in winning team fights often and catching out Bees and Horse in that early game and really kind of destroying them in lane.
Yeah, 100%. So coming from the perspective of what both teams are trying to accomplish, Southern Alberta definitely feels like their team comp is made to, we want to make picks really fast and we want to keep the momentum on our side. Yone, of course, he's going to excel on getting on that backline. Maokai is going to excel on getting that backline frozen in place and making sure nobody can do anything. Nefiri excelling to get on the backline. Caitlyn's going to be able to shoot you from a distance. And of course, Lux is going to be able to shoot lasers at you, and it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
On Truman's side, I think if Truman's going into this from the perspective of, we see this, we've seen a team similar to this, they want to fight. Truman needs to come into this as the perspective is, we never want to give them a fair fight. If we can catch out one of them, perfect. But if we don't know where everybody else is on the map, we probably don't want to take that. I think that's the kind of the position that Truman wants to be in. They have very strong abilities to take bot lane and snowball it, to take top lane and at least go even into the Yone. Shen's going to be valuable no matter what stage of the game you're going to be in, as long as there's no CC that's going to get on top of him.
Yeah.
So I think from the perspective of Truman, this is a strong composition. But just learning from last game against Mankato, learning from the mistakes of the Maokai and the other things that were really effective against Truman, and recognizing that Southern Alberta might not be able to play that exactly the same way that Mankato did. And if Truman can capitalize on the things that they do differently, just minutely, seeing how the enemy team plays, seeing how they do specific things, and exploiting those little weaknesses that come through, once you get a chip into the armor, it's much easier to break it.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see from Truman, is to try to exploit those things that they know that they did poorly last time, and improving upon those things in order to really shine in those aspects that Southern Alberta is kind of trying to exploit. They know that some of these weaknesses exist in Truman, and so they are trying to exploit those weaknesses a little bit here. But I think Truman, it definitely is in a position to recognize where those weaknesses stand, improve on those weaknesses, and use that to their advantage to find a point where Southern Alberta is not going to find them in the position that they want to be in, and Truman can use that and exploit that to their advantage instead. And instead of losing picks or losing those fights, Truman can start to win these. And I think if Truman, I believe Truman does know what they're doing here, and I think they're going to play very smart, because they've learned from their last two games. And so I think it's a very good possibility that in this first game we might see a lot of action on the Truman side when it comes to kills and getting those picks. From Southern Alberta we might see,
No, you're fine.
we might see
Oh, okay. Sorry, I gotta stop you off right here. The Maokai going for the I thought he was gonna do something really stupid and just walk in and try to fight there, but he's just placing down a war. That's okay. So, but that is gonna give them the slightest bit of advantage, knowing if that the Kindred is going to be starting bot side, which I don't understand why she wouldn't start the bot side. A little bit of chip damage on it, and the Fury is looking very nice right there. I don't know why Kindred wouldn't start bot side. That red buff is very strong, and I think her mana game is pretty okay, so there's no reason to really start red side. Another little bit of chip damage onto the Fury. The zoning is really good there, coming from Meliora there, and then this bot lane is going to be very interesting. I'm very excited to see how it goes, because you get a very big pokey comp into a very, like, we want to engage once we see something good.
Yeah.
More chip damage going into the Fury. Classic. And, I think there's a lot of advantages to be had, and I think part of Truman's game plan here in this top lane is definitely going to be Shen can be very strong, especially if he gets this level 2 advantage, which he just now has. He is going to be able to take this fight very aggressively, and we're watching him do it right now.
Shen is just going to be able to stand there. Gon doesn't have many options, and we'll probably see.
Yep, the flash commit, he potted, and he's got Doran's shield. So honestly, that was something that we should expect to see. Of course, Yone has a TP, and we lost the ignite advantage on top there, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Shen to play this lane. But he does have the advantage. If he's smart, he doesn't want to crash this wave quite yet. He probably wants to delay it just a little bit, so the Yone has to keep walking up.
That isn't necessarily a bad thing for Truman either. You might lose the ignite and flash there, but you also gain the advantage of being in lane a little bit longer than your opponent, and so that you have that extra. And now that Shin has that extra level on Yone, Shin can.
Ooh, a little bit of a jungle action here going on for the invade. This is really good for Kindred. Kindred is very strong in this position, being able to kite the Maokai around. It looks like that he's just going to give up on that, and that's perfectly fine. It's probably going to be a little bit more of a scuffle, but with that blast cone, it's perfect. Meliora is going to be able to crash that wave, and that is really good attention to detail from Truman here. Something might happen here. Horse is looking around for this hook, but I don't think it's going to happen because that wave's too close to make anything else happen. I said happen like 3 times. Yeah, that wave was too close. If you managed to get something through the lollipop, I would have been very impressed. A little bit of a miss on the Q there from the Lux there. Going to be a little bit of damage. There's going to be the stun onto the Caitlyn there. Just poking down the Lux. Really committing on Lux. There's the ignite.
She doesn't have too much to do here. The flash by a Horse trying to get back in there.
Yep, definitely zoning off for Bees to make sure Bees is okay. The Lux is going to be able to pop back up and be able to get back into that game, but I think part of the importance of that is to make sure that they have to respect the hook from the Nautilus here, because if Nautilus gets on top of either of your two champions, it's going to be very difficult. And look at that. There's going to be the passive there onto the Caitlyn, and then Naut's just going to walk backwards.
This is working very good for Truman. getting those hooks out and doing that extra damage is getting rid of
Oh, look at
amazing
the
jump
that's
by-
going to be a very good hook, and the root's going to get him. There's first blood. It's okay. You know, you're going to get a little bit of that gold. Yeah, it's depressing that Bees doesn't get that gold, but hey, having gold onto your bot lane, even though it's only 150, is going to be very strong. Caitlyn has to respect the Nautilus, and if she doesn't, she's going to get hooked, and she's going to die for that. So very good first blood for Truman there. I definitely like the way that they played that, playing aggressive and making sure they have to respect Nautilus being able to do so much stuff. Of course, we want to see Luma here not commit too much, knowing that Yone is just going to be able to pop backwards.
Yeah. And even now, I think Luma is in an advantageous position to win those fights. Shin still has has a very high damage output in the early game.
Ooh,
and
a little
has
bit of damage.
shield and some poke out of Meliora there.
Yep, very very nice. And I like you know, the Kindred going top and showing on the Yone and on the Shen. Maybe this doesn't look like the best fight here, but of course Shen going to be able to block all those abilities from the minions wasn't too bad. But I think showing top there is going to maybe allow Truman to do something a little bit different here. There looks like they might be prioritizing the grubs here, saying, okay, we respect that you guys can just have Chemtech first. We're going to look to have an advantage on grubs, which honestly I think is a fine move for Truman. Truman wants to play to be able to win this very quickly. Very nice dash here. And then, yeah, all Luma has to do is wait for this Yone to come back, because he's going to come back eventually, and it's going to be very, very rough for him to beat it. Solo kill, solo bolo onto Luma. That's beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And they trade the dragon for it.
Yeah. Truman is doing very well here. Like we talked about, winning, finding where they can find those chinks in the armor of Southern Alberta and using those to their advantage in order to get those early kills that Southern Alberta was actually looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Any little blemish or any little spot in the armor that you are able to get through is going to be very valuable. Of course, you see the Lux Q and the Lux W. Probably, I thought, oh, there's the Caitlyn Q. I was waiting for the Caitlyn, or Lux W into Lux. Yeah, sorry. I was expecting to see the Caitlyn Q into there. All right, this fight here, seeing the 6 versus 5 looks very scary. Ooh, a lot of damage from Melior onto the Nefiri. And the flash, just barely.
Yeah.
Yep, I mean, yeah, there's not much more that you can want there. You're forcing the Nefiri to back, and it looks like Maokai might have to commit to either holding the mid lane or just giving it away. It looks like he's just going to give it away.
Yeah.
And, of course, you're seeing the 2v1 in bot lane. Horse has been gone, just went to go put a control ward up in the topside jungle of Southern Alberta. And the great thing is that Southern Alberta isn't really doing much with their advantage bot lane. What they could be doing, they could have set up a freeze, or they could have forced Truman, could have forced Bees to walk up, but they didn't.
No,
so they just let him free farm, and not free farm, but he's still getting as many minions as he could.
Yeah, there was a very good play by Luma there too, recognizing that there was no need to go full in on the Yone here. And now that the Yone has gone and used his E, there's that cooldown, and Shin can get some extra damage off there without any worry, and then back off and then play to the advantage of the tower and having that extra CS and level from being in there a little bit longer than Yone was able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see a little bit of a CS difference between the two of them, but honestly, that's not too much of a difference. The kill is definitely what we're looking for. Okay, we're seeing a little bit of engage here, a little bit of the dash forward on the Oh yeah, and there's going to be continue. Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that there was. Yeah, this. I apologize. Yeah, the stand united, and then actually getting the Maokai ult there is really really big. The stand united onto the Kindred definitely changed the momentum of that fight. Nefiri is going to be getting a little bit of vision to try to salvage something that was happening there, but that happened so fast, and I forgot the name of Kindred for a second there that I couldn't call the fight.
I think. From there,
this doesn't look like a good position for Horse here. Horse is still going to have Q. Yep, and then you're going to see Melior is going to rotate here.
Down and help Horse here, and then can get.
Yep, and there's the commit of the ult from the Nefiri. We're gonna, I think, and that's I'm waiting to see the Q from Horse.
Horse gets out.
Yep.
Here goes in.
Oh my gosh!
And then the kill by Kindred. That was
the
amazing.
risky. That's very very risky. All right, so.
And then I think from Truman is just to back off there and reset.
Yeah, and honestly, that was a very scary fight for Truman. I'm going to be completely honest. Truman played that probably the best that they could have in the state that they were in. Very smart use of the no auto zone from Luma there, and then Bees is still left solo in bot. You might as well cue some Stardew Valley music for this farming simulator because that is all this is going to be. And it's really interesting that other than that one roam from Lux that we just saw mid, which wasn't successful, nothing's really happening in the spot lane other than Bees is being able to roughly evenly farm, get some poke damage out, and then oh my gosh!
Get a kill here on the
committing
Lux.
the ultimate onto the Lux there. That's just going to be an easy kill.
And then the root on
root on the Caitlyn, you're going to see the Q cancel on the knot, and then there's going to be the barrier coming out for the.
And then the root and the Kindred's coming down to help bot lane.
And then our cameraman is terrible because it's an automatic camera. We're not going to see the rest of this fight, but the Q.
And there's a pull.
Yep.
And then the E by Varus.
Yep. I mean, there's not much more that you could want there. You have the double kill. They overcommitted, and I mean, you had to use one ult there, but that wasn't too bad. We're seeing a little bit of a trade happening for the Shen here. It's Luma's not gonna know where that Shen where that Yone is gonna come from, but he's choosing to fight in the middle of this wave. He is strong enough that he could get away with this. And then if the Yone is gonna commit too much, the taunt into that, and then Tap's doing the flash, and he ignited, and he committed ult to lose the fight.
I think we're seeing exactly what we were talking about before from Truman here, is that they know that Southern Alberta is trying to go for what they assume to be
this is going to be a nice fight here. Yeah, just with no intel on the map here, going to have to use the Maokai ult to not die here, which is perfectly fine on Truman's side. They're saying, okay, sure, use the Maokai ult. You're not going to have it for the next thing that's coming up. Truman's going to get all of these grubs here, -1. Alberta got 1 of the 6, and then Truman's probably thinking, reset, dragon? That's what I would be thinking right now.
Yeah, I think Truman is definitely looking out for that. With Meliora pushing in, trying to set up for that drag, and like I was trying to say earlier before we had a little bit of action there.
Ooh, okay. There's the Nefiri ult onto the Syndra, and then we're going to see just a little bit. Oh, and Lux very far out of position. We're going to see a little bit of a knockup for the Lux. Kinder's going to be able to jump back here. Kinder's probably going to have the flat. Yep, there's the ultimate right there. And then so we're going to see a little bit of back and forth there. Kindred's going to take a little bit of damage. Just Stand United from Luna is going to save.
Kill and save Kindred from that death.
That was very, very close there, and that's very rough for the Nefiri, having to watch your teammate go down.
Yeah.
Now there's going to be a lot of pressure in mid, and then of course we have to see Halo reset here. If anything's going to happen here, Halo did have to commit the ult, and we did have to see oh my gosh, the catch from Beast here, and I didn't even see Horse coming from behind.
Coming down with the ult, and the Caitlyn's just dead.
Yep.
I'm going to try and get this out quickly, but Truman is doing what we were talking about beforehand, before the game started, which was they recognize that Southern Alberta is trying to exploit those weaknesses that they saw last time against Mankato. Sorry, and Truman.
Yeah, this is good. I'm gonna have to talk. We're gonna have to pause that thought right there, because Maokai is overcommitting here, not knowing where the rest of Truman is. It's gonna be very, very rough for them. Lux might commit the ult here, but she probably won't. So what just happened there is Maokai was like, "Oh yeah, I can beat this Nautilus on my own." You're not gonna beat the Nautilus even in that 1v2, knowing that the bot laner is gonna be there. Bees is gonna be able to come up, and they just shut down that fight.
Yeah.
And then that puts them into an amazing opportunity. Dragon is basically free because the Maokai just kind of threw the fight by going in early and not realizing where the vision was at and who was going to be able to do that. There's the Mountain Drake for Truman, more poking in the Fury, and then we're going to see a little bit of a gank right off of that. Southern Alberta did not respect that Truman just finished Dragon. No. They're going to lose Lux. There's the heal from the Lux there. We're going to get to see
the kill on the Caitlyn, and the Bees did a pretty crazy play there. As the Maokai ult was coming down, Bees recognized that both the Nautilus and the Kindred were going to be blocking that wave onto them, and so Bees flashed.
Oh, we're going to see the Nefiri ult here. Nefiri is full committing to this fight. It looks like Nefiri doesn't have barrier, but got a shield there in the middle of the fight. But it didn't really matter.
No.
She just didn't have enough damage, even though it's going to be very close, and we're probably going to see Nefiri commit something here. Very interesting what's going on here, bot, and a little bit of a cheeky tower dive happening top. Luma's thinking about it. Luma is just waiting patiently. The poise, the patience to wait for the Yone to come out. Best thing you could do is probably just going to proxy farm after that.
Yeah.
Maokai's going to have to come up and answer that, and that means Truman's going to be free to do something else around the map. Now, this is going to be very scary here. Maokai doesn't have the ultimate, and Luma's probably just going to take the L, but there's the Smite committed there, and there's the Yone going to be able to use an ability there. Of course, you can't stand United yourself, and the walking backwards and getting the shield off from your passive was probably the smartest thing that Luma could have done there, because that absolutely saved him.
Incredible play from Luna. Finding out where the rest of your team is, and then recognizing where you can improve yourself in that situation in order to get out of it.
Yeah, it's equally interesting that we're seeing Truman take some really risky plays.
Yes.
And I think, honestly, that's part of Luma's playstyle, is Luma plays a little bit risky. It's a little bit, it's not always coin flippy, but Luma seems to play a little bit risky, and that really pays off sometimes. And other times you see, it doesn't always pay off best, but it seems to be very consistent that Truman is definitely dictating the pace of this game.
Yes.
And there's going to be another Nefiri ult, very, very good use of the knockaway there, and then we're going to see the ultimate! Lux barely saving that. We're going to see the flash committed by Nefiri, and then the Lux the Lux E is barely saving that Nefiri. Any more damage, and it was out.
It looks like Horse is rotating around, looking for that pull, but going back, realizing it's not there.
See, I want to argue with that. I think Horse was only looking for the vision on that bush there because they're actively getting the Rift Herald here. That's the only thing that they want. There's no reason to int under that tower, even though it's really low. You've got the Lux there, even if you get one.
From Bees.
Yeah, and it's just easy farming here from Bees. All Bees has had to do is just wait for Caitlyn to not respect him and then just commit to a fight. And it's been able to happen every single time. Yone, again, is in the same position where it's just not respecting the Shen too much, and Shen is just able to continue to proc grasp and to continue to take fights that he knows he's going to win.
Yeah. Truman is doing what we have discussed, and that is exploit their mistakes that they are trying to exploit from Truman. And
a little bit of fight there. You're going to see, flash forward. If that wasn't a flash, that was going to be a Q under the Fury, and the Fury's probably going to go down. The only rough thing there for Bees is there's dogs. You can also hook one of the dogs, so there's not much more that you can do there. But forcing the Fury to have to run away is very strong, especially if you're going to get that Rift Herald in the mid. Now, if it was me, I would have waited until that tower was down, then dropped a Rift Herald mid to get a little bit more damage. Maybe you can get... honestly, it's kind of a coin flip. I'm not sure. Maybe you could have got 2 crashes out of it, but... Or you could have got a crash into that second outer tower and then to the first inside tower. But, you play however you want. I'm not the one on stage right now.
Yeah. I think I might have to wait to finish that thought until this game is over, because Truman is just doing very, very well here. They are getting those picks out. They are using the mistakes that Alberta is making here and changing it into wins for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing that we saw most from Mankato was Truman would make mistakes and Mankato would capitalize on them. Now we're seeing Truman is using every little advantage, just as we talked about before, to be able to just make Southern Alberta look like they're in a different bracket. Yeah. Almost like that. Not to diminish the skill that we're seeing from both teams, because they both are playing well, but Truman is just using their advantage so well. I mean, look at that gold difference.
Yes.
8K gold, roughly 8K gold difference at 17 minutes, 18 minutes.
And we haven't seen a kill from Southern Alberta either.
Yeah.
It's not looking good on their end, but there is always the chance of them turning it around. We talked about last game for German was that there's always a position where you can turn and flip the game. But if Southern Alberta doesn't do that soon, they might be seeing their Nexus fall very soon.
Yeah, and absolutely. And it looks like just with the positioning on the map here, this top lane, it's doing what top lane does, and it's being an island. And we're seeing Meliorda try to play a little bit aggressive into the Nefiri, getting a lot of big poke damage on there. And Truman rotating for Dragon just as you would in this position. Their vision in jungle is very, very, very strong. The only thing I think you'd want to see is maybe that control ward a little bit deeper. Of course, it's a control world, they'd be able to see it. But Lux is going to commit the ult there, and it's just, there's nothing that Alberta can do in this position. Truman has such good control over that dragon. And then we're going to see Horus play a little aggressive here, but there's not a lot to be able to push up into it. Maokai's going to go ahead and commit the ult. This is actually going to be a really big fight here. We're going to see the knockup from the old...
Maokai is just gone, and then they focus back onto the Neferi.
Yeah, the Neferi's going to come in. We're going to see the ultimate come out from the Yone, the TP into the ultimate, and of course, beautiful timing from the Halo. Halo going to be able to get the ultimate there to save everybody, and then we're going to have the Shen. Shen's going to come down. I believe that wasn't a TP, that was a Stand United, probably onto Bees there, and just shutting down that fight. I mean, that was almost very bad for Truman, but of course, they had the vision, so I don't know. Like, it wasn't the worst fight that Truman could have. Oh, this is gonna be sneaky. Oh my gosh, Horse, that's so mean. That's so mean of you, Horse. Why would you do that to somebody? That's crazy.
Horse is looking for that S.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not fun unless the support's getting kills too.
Yeah. It isn't a fun game unless the support is not only getting kills but stealing kills.
Yes, that's true. I honestly am kind of disappointed that we're not seeing Horse get more kills out of Bees' hands.
I think that is definitely something that Truman will have to discuss for next game.
More damage onto the Fury every time.
Getting more kills for Horse as Horse deserves it.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, don't let Meliora keep doing this to you. No, Fury, this just isn't fair. You can't let a Syndra bully you. You're an assassin and that's a mage. Yeah, I mean, it's just very, very stellar play. Truman's in a very strong position. Almost all of their towers are almost all full health. Southern Alberta just hasn't been able to do anything. And they're about to take top tower, which means they're going to have every one of the tier 1 towers. And then they're about to have, they've got the tier 2 and mid. So Truman's just in a very strong position. The question is, are they going to commit more to top side here to try to get, take Shen out of the game? And it doesn't look like that's going to be happening.
I don't think if it's necessary in this situation, as Luma has been doing a very good job outpacing and playing around the Shin and using the Shin's mistakes against him and getting the Yone's mistakes against him and getting the Yone caught out on those situations where we see right here. If Luma wanted to, Luma could rotate into where that shadow is sitting and then get that kill.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're seeing the Baron fight happen here, and there's going to be the Maokai ult going to come in here. We're probably going to see Horse hook somebody here, going to be waiting just slightly. Ooh, the knockup going onto the back line there, and you're going to see the Lux ult coming in. Caitlyn's going to go down here, probably. Nah, it didn't happen, and then we're going to switch the camera to the top lane island to see this exact same thing we've been seeing all game long. Losing Horse there, not the worst person that you're going to lose.
No, I think out of anybody on the team, that is the person that you're most willing to lose.
Yep, and it does feel bad that Truman is actually losing a tower and bot. They're going to trade it for the tower and the top, but they probably would have liked to have that Baron a lot better. Maybe in a position where Luma could have rotated down from top lane to help out with that. That might have been better, but I think Truman just recognized that, hey, we forced a fight, we got some kills, let's just keep the ball rolling. They only got one. They got the kill on her support, and of course it went to Caitlyn, but Caitlyn is behind a whole item right now, and we're probably going to see the Varus pick up item 2, so Bees is going to be way ahead, and we see everybody else on Truman's side is also way ahead. You see 2 items on the Shen, you see almost going to be 2 items on Halo with the Kindred, and then of course Bees is looking for that second item, and then Meliora has second item too.
Yeah. Truman is just ahead in almost every category here. I don't think they're losing at all here. So much so that there's objective gold for Southern Alberta here.
Ooh, a little bit of a stun there. This is going to be very strong. I don't think Melior has to commit the ult there because you had the Kindred there, but committing the ult just means that Caitlyn is going to be sitting in a gray screen simulator for another 30 seconds. Yeah. That just makes the dragon fight easier, and Horse is like really aggressive. Maokai has to respect it. It is amazing how much fear that Horse instills into the enemy jungler.
Yes, seeing a Maokai fastly run away from a Nautilus.
And the
fear.
Yeah, and the consistent thing that keeps happening is Truman is able to just play 4v4 or 4v5 if Yone decides to come up, because it doesn't matter what's going on. The Shen here doesn't have to commit anything because Shen is always going to have that stand united as long as you're out of position where that you're not going to be able to get CC'd. It's just big for the oh my gosh, committing the ult there from the Yone, then we're going to see the ult come out from the Fury, and the Fury is really going to push here hard. Horse says no. That is a little bit of a nice little depth charge on the Fury. And then Truman just in a great position here. They
split pushing lanes and getting into their
flash ult. Not a lot that you could do in that position. Yeah, flash ult from the Fury. Yeah.
And Truman is playing well here, using their vision that they have in the enemy jungle on the bot side to their advantage, and getting that tower all the way pushed to their base, and then rotating into that drag for one more towards Soul.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Truman's one away from Cloud Soul. It's not the strongest one in the world, strongest soul that you probably want on this team. I mean, maybe you want Mountain Soul here, but honestly, being able to move faster and getting the cooldown on ultimates is very, very strong, especially when you're in a game with a Shen.
Yeah.
Shen's ultimate is probably the biggest ultimate that they have on this team. Of course, Kindred's is huge too, being able to make your teammates invulnerable and give them a heal, everybody a heal for that matter. Truman's going to 4-1 this, it looks like, going to get the pick onto the Maokai. Maokai's going to commit the ult. Shen's in the backline, he's going to be taking some of that tower aggro. Tower aggro switching on a horse there, and then it's just going to be a little bit of a skirmish here.
Yeah.
Not really committing anything too much from either side. The most that we saw was the Maokai ult there. They're going to slow that down, and then this is going to be a little bit of a scary fight for Melior here. But Shen is going to recommit here, and then you're going to see the flash from the Maokai there.
Yeah. Getting that flash on the Maokai isn't a bad thing to happen. Getting any summoners that you can get from the enemy in any position is a good one.
Ooh, this is looking a little. This Yone, I think he's holding ult. He's gonna. Oh no, he's gonna dash forward. Yep. I was gonna say for him. Oh, this is just a terrible position for Maokai to be in. Having to pop ult here is even worse for the Kindred. Kindred's gonna have to stay in this vision. This is a little bit of risky play, and having Caitlyn just means that is going to be a confirmed kill there. Probably very much way too aggro coming from Halo there.
Yeah, that is the first. Pretty sure that's the first bounty kill for Southern Alberta here.
Nope, you would have. They got one on Horse. Horse had 3 kills and 5 assists and had a bounty actually.
I was not prepared for a bounty on the support. My bad.
Yeah, usually that doesn't happen.
But the second bounty kill for Southern Alberta here, and as they look to try and beef up their damage in order to get back into this game, hopefully, and they set up for. Looks like they might be rotating around to set up for
Baron?
For Baron here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Truman's got a lot of vision control. I think, they're checking to see if Truman's doing Baron right now, and they can see that they're obviously not. In this position, especially for Southern Alberta, you've got a wave pushing into the top tower. Your bot wave is really pushed in. You have somebody contesting it, so it's a really hard position to do a Baron. You do see that you have the Shen bot lane, but honestly, if you see Shen anywhere on the map and you don't know that he's used his ultimate there, you should just assume that he's going to be in that fight. Truman starting the Baron here is very smart because they see that there's not very many people on the map here for Southern Alberta. You see the Yone top, and that's a lot of the damage there. Smite going to be coming out for Truman, and that's going to be a very easy Baron. Horse, of course, probably looking for the Caitlyn hook. Didn't come out, but this is very, very dangerous from the side of Truman going into Southern Alberta. Southern Alberta has to respect this Baron play, and this Baron play could very well end the game for Southern Alberta.
This could very well be the end of this game for Southern Alberta if they don't respect how much damage they can do to their base and how far they can push in. I feel like Southern Alberta does recognize that with the Lux recalling and knowing that they have to do something here in order to...
Seeing the Maokai ult come out here, probably trying to get Bees. Bees just barely not walking into the middle of where Horse got picked up there, but still they're going to be able to take this tower.
Maokai onto the Varus, but it just doesn't do anything.
Depth charge going to go onto the Caitlyn there, and you can see the Yone ult coming from behind. Then the Fury ult going to go onto Bees there. Bees misses the flash, and Bees is going to go down. Yeah. And then we're going to see, everybody just disengaged. We did see the ult going to go onto there. The Shen Stand United went onto the Bees there, but it's not going to make the difference. He's not going to be able to get out. The Fury is going to dash them. That's another shutdown onto the Fury. That was 2 big shutdowns onto the Fury from Bees from both of those, from Bees and from the Shen. Sometimes saying words is very hard. That is a very rough position for Truman to be in. Of course, they don't want to give up any... Oh my gosh! Melior, you didn't have to do Lux so dirty like that.
Just the stun into the wall and then exploded.
Yeah, literally, you summon an orb and the orb explodes. That kind of reminds me, I actually watched a movie last night which had orbs in it. What was that movie called? It has Keanu Reeves in it, and he's an alien that comes from another world. I think it's...
Is it...
Well, I'll have to think about this.
Is it The Matrix?
It is not The Matrix. No, it's not The Matrix. But anyway, but it just reminds me of those orbs. I watched this movie last night for some reason. That's just happened to be the movie that I watched.
Is it Dragon Ball Z, the movie.
It was no, it was not. In fact, Dragon Ball Z.
The Spirit Orb. You know
No. Well, okay. Let's focus on the game here. Truman is looking to start the dragon here. They have a very strong position. Yeah. They're sold.
Truman just gets skull simply because of how much damage output they have here with the Gul'dan kill lead. And now Truman is down one. They all have a kill on their
Ooh, big catch out on the Lux there. There's not much that you can do there. The depth charge, passive into the depth charge is going to make sure that the Lux is going to be out of the fight. Of course, this is a very big play. Truman sees that they can end the game, and so what is happening here is Shen is top to try to prevent them from backing so that they have to, and Shen's going to get the damage there. They have to get away. Truman is going to end the game here while they are busy trying to take down the Shen. Shen is way too tanky, and even if Shen dies, it does not matter. You have 4 people in their base from Truman.
Yes, and if Nefari or Yone try to get back, they're too late.
Yeah, it's too late. They're going to see the ult there coming out from Truman there, and that's going to be it.
Yeah.
Truman taking game 1 in a decisive victory. Beautiful, beautiful play.
Yes, that was a beautiful game from Truman, and I will try to get out what I was trying to say during the game before Truman just kept on doing more and more stuff. But we saw from Truman doing something that we were discussing before the game started, which was recognizing where they had weaknesses, and instead of falling on those weaknesses and continuing that cycle that they had before, they recognize where they can make those picks and where they can get those kills, and having great vision and having great rotation from Halo, getting around to each of the lanes and getting those picks where they could. And I think we definitely saw from Southern Alberta is that they saw the previous games that Truman played. They definitely watched the game reels, and they saw where they were being exploited. And Truman knew that they knew that Southern Alberta was trying to exploit some of those things. I think it was definitely evident in the Maokai pick, but Truman recognized that Maokai pick can be very damning for your backline, and so Truman worked together as a team to instead neutralize those that Maokai ult, and working together in tandem to have that first fronted by the Nautilus, and getting rid of that area that is being cut off by the Maokai ult, and then having the ability for bees to get behind Horse and stop bees from getting rooted and possibly costing that fight. And so they work together in order to win those fights as what Southern Alberta was trying to exploit was Truman's veracity when it comes to fights like that and trying to get those picks. And Truman smartly recognized that there's positions where you can get picks and where positions where you can't get picks. And so they saw that in order to get those picks, they have to work together and they have to play cohesively as a team and work together on those comms, work together on the map, pinning, pointing out, pinging anything that happens. And they worked together very well, had great vision, and were able to get those picks out there. And I think we also saw from Alberta is that they weren't taking advantage of times that they had advantages. As we saw during the bot lane, there's multiple times where Bees was just all alone, and Bees recognized the fact that he was all alone, and instead played back and played safe and waited for them to come to them in freezing lane where he could. And instead of using those times to their advantage and having that vision up so they could see and recognizing the map, Southern Alberta just relinquished that and weren't able to get that early game in there. And Truman played a very, very good early game. They were able to get those picks and work together in getting ganks and having a lot of rotation from horse in order to get those into the mid lane and into top and getting pulls, and we just saw a very great game from horse. Getting some great pulls, getting some incredible stuns, and we saw Truman take some risks. Definitely, we saw there was definitely a few times where Truman almost had a not so great position. We saw a few times where the Halos were a little more advantageous than you would. Was trying to be a little more advantageous than you would want to be in that position, getting swarmed by 3 or 2 other 3 or 2 Southern Alberta players, and they work together very well. Recognize seeing those. They outpositioned themselves a few times, but they knew that they had to pull back on that a little bit, and they also knew that there was going to be times where they just had to play together as a team, and we saw that a lot from Truman here, playing together well and playing together as a team. There was multiple times where they were just able to push Southern Alberta back because of their recognition of the time and where they should be positioned and positioning themselves well for objectives. We also saw a few times where Truman was just split pushing them while trying to take objectives, and so they played very, very well in distracting Alberta when they recognized that they had that advantage and were able to split push. We saw it from Varus, we saw it from Shin, we saw it from Meliora, we saw it across the board. It was just not from our support or our jungler, a jungle, which of course you're not going to see that as much. But getting those split pushes and completely distracting them from those objectives that were happening there. It was so evident that we even saw it at the end of the game. Shin knew that there was the Baron buff, and they knew that they had that advantage, and so they had all 4 push mid, go into their lane that they had the farthest, that they had that first turret in the base, and were able to push that inhibitor and just keep on going. While they had to, Southern Alberta themselves were distracted by Luma's play, keeping them out of that ability to try and recall back and try and save their base from being destroyed. And we saw a very intelligent plays from Sherman in that situation. Is that they were able to stop those recalls and completely destroy the base and completely run through it. And now we're waiting here for a little bit longer for the teams to get set back up and get back into that pick phase for both teams. And we see Trim take up this first game. And if we see what we saw in the last match, then if we continue to see what we saw in the last match with Truman playing around their strengths and using those mistakes that Southern Alberta was making, they can really take 2 games here and call it a night. Or Southern Alberta can realize that the game plan that they had going into this, where they were trying to exploit those mistakes that they saw from Truman the previous game, they can work. They can try to work together to change up their game plan to fit the situation that they find themselves in now, where Truman's working very well together, and try to find some of those bans that might work in their favor. I think we're definitely going to see a Shin ban from Southern Alberta. That Shin was crazy. Very, very crazy plays. And just setting themselves up in good positions, and getting those united plays. And there was multiple times where we saw Shin just come in and being the deciding factor in those fights and getting wins. There was that point in the jungle where we saw Kindred, and it almost seemed like she could possibly lose the fight there. But then we saw Shin come in, help clean up, and get a pick or two. And so I think Alberta is going to have to change this up a little bit in order to recover from what happened before. What we in the continuation of bans, they're even I don't know if Alberta is so surprised by the plays that they saw last time that they might even go for the Nautilus ban in order to try to stop Horse, who had like a very fantastic game, getting great picks and great CC, and stopping Truman from doing anything that way. I think Alberta is going to have some thinking to do when it comes to this next game and what bans they want to put on Truman. They a lot of thought into it. We know, or at least I believe that they are going to look for a ban on the Shin because of just how well Luma was playing last game. There's a good possibility that there's the ban on Nautilus because of just how well Horse was playing last game, and they I don't know if they're going to ban anything the way of in the way of mid or the AD carry or the jungle, or if they might stick with the same bans that they had last time, trying to stop Truman from getting those mains that they might want. But from Truman, we might see a little bit of a shakeup. I know there was talks before this game started that Truman might be bringing in some of their subs in to play to try and get a feel for them, especially because they're up game now. They are in an advantageous position to get those sub players in and getting them in there for a feel of what's going to be going on. But also, Truman might also see this as a position to just get it over with, get the second game, and get that win if they can get it out this early. I know that yes, we are seeing it here. A little bit of a change. We still have Luma top. We're still seeing. We're still seeing Horse as this probably the support, but we're seeing a change in the bomb Nebulous, and in Blue Orchard. These are all their three subs, so we're probably going to. I am assuming that Truman is still going to be running Luma top, Horse support, but for Truman here, I think if I remember correctly. Nebulous is going to be playing jungle, and Bomb will be playing top, and Blue Orchard will be playing mid. But I'm not 100% sure on that, and we'll definitely see that when it switches over into the pick phase. But that also means I've lost my co-host, sadly. And I'm going to be commentating this next game by myself. But that isn't a problem. I'm going to see my other commentator in the game playing against Southern Alberta here. And luckily, they already switched over some of the some of the overlay, and so I don't have to run over and do that, but I will have to run over when it switches into the game. But for now, I'm just going to continue talking about what we saw and what we might see into this next game. We didn't see any. I don't know. Did we? I don't think we did. See any switches from. No. Okay. No switches from Southern Alberta. Oh, okay. We saw a switch out. Oh, maybe not. Truman's not so sure if they want to have Blue Orchard play or if we want to have Halo come back in there. They're kind of mulling it over, and nope, we're saying Blue Orchard. Oh, we got this. Who knows what they're going for right now? They're working it over. But if that's the team that Truman's going with, this time we're gonna see three new players, three new people, working together for the first time, and I know that Blue Orchard, my co-host, is going to be the first time playing in a sanctioned match. I know it's I believe it is the first time for Bomb CT, but it is not the first time for Nebulous. I know Nebulous has played before, and Nebulous, I believe, was the top laner for last the previous season. So I believe that actually Nebulous is the bot. And that's the only one I'm for sure. I'm not. I'm not 100% sure on where everybody is going to be playing. I'll definitely call those out when I know those for sure and know what's going to be happening. But for now, we're just waiting until they switch over into that ban phase so we can actually see those bans that they're going to be doing. But for now, we're just kind of waiting, and I know that going into this, because we saw the subs by Truman is super, super confident. Well, I wouldn't say super, probably super confident in in this next game, because the willingness to switch those players over, and get those subs in and get them into those games. If we're seeing that from Truman, I think that they are ready for this next game, and hopefully we can see the same level of communication and the same level of map awareness, and just some great plays from our new players coming into this game. I know that Southern Alberta now is actually is not in as advantageous as they once were hoping for, because of the switch out. They don't have a complete understanding of how the new Truman players are going to play, how their play style behaves, and might not even been paying attention to them at all. They might have just threw them aside and thought, these are the dudes that these are the players that we're going to be playing against, and these are the people that we have to watch out for. And so if they didn't pay attention to these players for Truman here, it might put them in a less advantageous position than they were hoping for, because now they have to learn about these new players that are coming in, and they have to understand how they're going to play and how well they're going to be doing in it just overall. I personally don't think Southern Alberta was really expecting the switch out, or that the switch out was going to be needed, that the switch out was going to happen from Truman, because I am as most people are, they're very confident when they come into coming into a game. You want to be confident because you want to believe that you can get the win here, but it might be less so for Southern Alberta. We will just have to see, and we'll just have to see for Truman for what kind of comp they're going for. I'll call out these new players as soon as I see their position and where they're going to be playing. And I'm pretty sure that Luma and Horse are going to be. There's a possibility that they're in different positions, but if they're not, I'll definitely point that out. Um, but right now, I think we're just waiting for the stage to flip over so we can go to this big band stage and see what Alberta and what Truman does. Um, and we're going to see uh, some interesting picks and some things that we weren't expecting before. Um, because because of these picks. Oh, okay. I am so dumb. I have it right here. Bomb is either going to be playing probably because we saw the switch out from Meliora. Probably the mid Nebulous is probably going to be playing the ADC position. And most likely seeing support play from Blue Orchid. And so I believe that that Luma is most likely going to be playing the top lane, and then we're seeing Horse switch over to the jungle most likely. But of course we won't know until we see their picks. But that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. It's kind of up in the air right now for Truman for what kind of comp they're going to win, and because I'm not 100% sure on where their position is going to be, because these players are well versed in multiple positions and they have the ability to play those positions. It's not 100% on what they're going to be doing. But I know Blue Orchid. I know what they're going to be picking, and what they're going to be playing, or at least I have a little bit of an idea. If it's the ADC, I could not tell you. I'm usually the position of being the ADC for Blue Orchid, but if there's the support, I there's there's the possibility of Braum. There's the I just played with them where they had a Poppy down by. I know there's the possibility for, I believe, definitely a spellcaster. I think Soraka or one of those poke AP poke support AP champions. But who knows? Because Truman is figuring this out for the first time and figuring out what kind of team comp they're going for, and I'm excited to see it because this is the first time this season that Truman, and I'm not 100% sure if this is the first time that they had the ability to have teammates to swap out, but it is the first time that I have seen and that I'm aware that they've had teammates to swap out. So this is very exciting for Truman because they found themselves in a position where they have those subs that can come in and give a little bit of rest point for their other teammates on the team, and hopefully can work together to get the win here, and hopefully get the 2-1 match on Southern Alberta. That is the ambition for Truman here. Looking, and I'm aware that all of their new players are they're long-term players. They've been playing for a little bit, and they definitely have the awareness and the ability to make those call-outs and point out where things are happening on the map. Their map awareness as a team is incredible, and their champion summoner spell awareness is also very good, pointing out when everything is when everything is going to happen. So apparently somebody from the chat is saying that Orchid is going to go for the ADC. I would love to see it. I would really love to see it. I would love to see Orchid in that position of getting those kills and just being a dominant force in the bot lane. Especially with Horse, I have no doubt in my mind that Horse is going to get a pull and Horse is going to get a pull and Orchid is just going to blow them out of the water. That is what I'm expecting to see. And I know Nebulous had played before, and I'm not 100% sure where Nebulous is going to go. I believe that it's possible that Nebulous goes top if Orchid is going ADC, but it a little bit of a toss up here because of the overlap that a lot of these subs have, and I know that I have multiple players on the team also have a lot of skill in their bag. They can to pull out and use to their advantage here against a little probably weakened morally team coming out of Southern Alberta after that first game, going for almost, I think it was 11 or 12 to 0 kills in the first before laning phase ended, or around when laning phase ended. And so they are looking for to get a bounce back from that, and hopefully get some punishment out on Truman. But I think, and also in that same vein, that with these new players coming for Truman, is that they are going to play very, very smart. That is, I personally believe, and I feel like I almost know that they're going to be doing that because they know that this is their first opportunity this season to get out here and play, and that and getting out here to play and getting out here to play and getting the opportunity to get out to go against Alberta here. They're going to play very smart because this obviously isn't their one opportunity to shine, but it's their first opportunity. And so I think they're going to play well, they're going to play smart, and they're going to try and do what Sherman was doing before, which was finding mistakes in Southern Alberta's game plan. That was what we saw from Sherman. It was finding where there was holes in their comp. Truly, noticing that their Maokai, their jungler, was their only proper tank, and abusing that against Truman, or abusing that against Southern Alberta. Southern Alberta tried to make up that by having a kind of a beefier Yone, but if they don't recognize where the mistakes were being made, they might just fall into the same trap that they had last time. And they are in a very, very confusing position almost because they're not 100% sure what Sherman's going to come out with. It could. I feel like Southern Alberta is probably going to go for a team comp that is more well-rounded as opposed to their last team comp, which was a comp of trying to get out there, get kills, and get them quick, and sustain that snowball effect as long as they could. But we saw the opposite happen there, where Truman was playing the map game and playing very smart and getting those picks that Alberta was looking for, and that was partly because of that pick ban phase. The Truman wasn't completely overwhelmed by those picks and bans that Southern Alberta was handing them, and I think instead we saw that it might have disadvantaged them a little bit, and also Truman picking good bans in order to stop Southern Alberta from picking who they want to play in this situation. Because we saw the ban on Ral, and we know that there's the support for Southern Alberta is very very likes Rel a lot. We saw, I believe it was a ban on Shyvana for their jungler, and we know that their jungler also likes to play Shyvana. I believe if I remember correctly, there might have been a ban on the Skarner. I'm not so sure about that one. But Truman was looking to get bans that were trying to disadvantage Southern Alberta as a whole, while Southern Alberta was picking bans that were focusing certain players on their team and uh, picking bans that were focusing certain players on Truman, and I think that might have disadvantaged them a little bit because they didn't respect how well Truman could play in those positions. And now we're here. We're seeing the ban for the Amumu. That's targeting who? Because Halo is out. That's just a general ban on the Amumu, not trying to see it. But because Halo is out, who knows who's going to be the pick there? We're seeing the ban on Jin, but the ban on Syndra and Ver, and oh my gosh, I am blanking on that name. But getting the ban on Shyvana, which was for their mid lane, getting the ban on Maokai, which they were seeing from the jungler last time, and the ban on Nami for Blue Orchid. And we see a pick from as Gargus. Zach, I know definitely if Orchid is playing support, that is what they're going for, because that is a preferred position for Orchid, is having that Zach. And then we're seeing a Jax, Volibear, and Quiana from Alberta. Alberta is going with depending on what they have for their next picks, going for a little bit more well-rounded with a more tanky front line in the form of Jax and Volibear. The ban on Nautilus, like I had talked beforehand, that I believe that we were definitely going to see, and I don't believe they're going to do it here. The ban on oh my gosh, I forgot her name, but that's embarrassing for me. The pick for Twitch, I know that that if Nebulous is playing the AD carry spot, that he likes that Twitch. We're seeing the pick from Caitlyn. These matchups are looking pretty equal here, with the two tanks for both teams currently, with the two mid laners with high damage there, and two very good AD carries, and with a lot of damage potential. And I'm okay. I know some picks here. I know that tells me that Horse is still playing the support position, and if Horse is still playing the support position, and is there, and the ban for Nautilus was for Horse. Horse is still. Thresh is a great pick for Horse. Right? We saw in the first game against Maryville where Horse could just pick somebody out, flay the whole team forward, and get those backline people a little closer and getting those picks out. Not entirely sure what we're going to see here, and we'll be able to tell from Truman as those we could. We'll see where those picks are for Truman for their team. I know that Horse is definitely going to be playing that Thresh, so that means I believe that Orchid might be playing the Zac, because I know Orchid really likes the Zac, but now I'm unsure because we see the Thresh there as the support pack. But when it comes to team matchups, when it comes to the AP to AD difference, we're seeing Truman is pretty heavy well, not that heavy. Truman is actually, I'd say both teams are pretty balanced when it comes to AP to AD. I think Truman is a little bit more AP focused with the Twitch and the Morgana and the Thresh, and I know Gargus does some AP damage with his abilities. When it comes to Truman, I know that Jax and Caitlyn are more AD focused, but we have Volibear, which is a little more AD. Kriana, I believe, is more AP, a little more AP focused, and Zyra is obviously AP focused as that support down there. Um, but what I think we'll see from Truman here is probably an attempt to do what they did last time, like I'd been talking about before, and trying to play smart, get those picks out where you can find them, and just play off mistakes. I think that is definitely something that they learned from the last NACE match that happened last week, was that instead of finding spots where they could point out and find where they could be advantageous in the mistakes that they were making, they realized that they learned from that last game, and I believe that would probably be a big part of what was going on coaching wise, was going like, hey, this isn't working. We need to have have it more oriented towards it working. I am going to go and switch over the screen.
seconds until minions spawn.
There we go. Ah, shoot. Oh, wait, no. Never mind. Having some slight technical difficulties with the with League of Legends client. As anybody has ever done anything when it comes that way, we know that the League client isn't always the best. Had a little bit of issue where the spectator mode crashed for some reason, but now that we're here, we are seeing these matchups that are happening. So, some weird action there, the Bully Bear walking back and forth and then seeing that CT was there. But we see Nebulous and Blue Orchid down bot. I was wrong. That isn't Horse. Horse is on Zac in the jungle. We see Luma up top, standing there. We see with the new switch in as CT for mid lane. Nebulous as an AD carry in Twitch, and the support pick from Blue Orchid. I accidentally left up the menu, but I think it'll be all right. We're seeing some action from Luma, getting some early damage on that Jax. CT's getting and a pull by Blue Orchid in early on, trying to get some damage there, and trying to get some poke as Truman's looking for it, and the Zyra is coming back in there looking for some extra damage, but Truman is playing it well. There's the level advantage for Southern Alberta here. The miss pull for Truman there, but getting that support objective is still very important for them. Truman's still a little bit behind. Nope, and now they're even on level. We're seeing Luminite still abusing there up top, getting that extra damage in there. A little too far getting the tower hit, but CT is getting that extra damage on the Quana early and trying to get that amazing root, keeping Quana stuck there, and getting that extra burn damage off the W. Truman is getting set up here for this new game with some new faces, of course, in Orchid and Nebulous and CT. As I was talking about before here, we're seeing a little bit of this from Truman, where they're playing maybe not so much when it comes to CT, playing a little more up front in the mid lane. But we're seeing in bot lane from Nebulous and Blue Orchid in a position. They're definitely in the position where they have to play this way, but they're playing a little more safe and playing a little more reserved and trying to get those freezes in lane and trying to get those clashes and just trying to play it safe and look for mistakes that Southern Alberta was making. There's the flavor from Truman and the flash from Nebulous as we try to get out. The flash from Orchid is they try to get out there, and the mishook for the volley. Nebulous is Luma is still playing up, trying to get those kills, or trying to get that early damage on the Jax where they can, and definitely using the advantage of being a AP, more damage focused champion. And we see Horse go in there for the jump and trying to get the CC on the Jax, and as Luma and them play it safe and try not to get too far into there going under tower. And we see Luma trying to get that barrel down to stop that recall. Still no kills by either team. Gold is very close. We definitely are going to have to see from the bot lane to get a little bit of a recovery here and try to catch up, but they definitely going to be able to do that after that back. Truman is going to play, I'm assuming they're going to play it safe here, try to get some damage out early, try to find any mistake that they can use to their advantage. But Lumen is caught out here and it's probably not going to hit very well. But Lumen, great pathing around and with the ability able to get out of there without having to use any summers, as Lumen didn't have any up. The bot lane is playing a little pushed in. CT is playing pushed out, trying to get damage early and trying to poke the Quiana. And we're seeing from Germany here down in the bot lane, amazing pull on the Caitlyn, trying to get that damage there. But the root and the poke damage on Nebulous is just crazy from Southern Alberta. And Blue Orchid trying to pick up that peel as trying to save their ADC there. And the continually hitting those Qs, getting those Ws down, and really messing up the Qana here for CT. Truman is still playing a little safe, going to have to know when to pick and choose your battles here as their new players are getting ready for their positions. And I imagine Southern Alberta is going for a more aggressive playstyle here. We're definitely seeing that with the already 2 ganks from Volibear. Although nothing to come up with it. Oh, that mana minion completely stopping that almost beautiful hook from Blue Orchid. That would have been an absolute kill on the Caitlyn there, but the game will continue to play and they will continue to win. As pointed out from the chat, Luma is doing a great job. We saw it last game, or seeing this game, where Luma is getting great trades and finding where and when to get that damage dealt, and trying to get those kills. I think from Truman here, what we're seeing for the bot lane is that Caitlyn isn't the only person that can do damage, and I think if Truman wants to play the smart way here, it is to probably focus at Zeri, that Zyra, and get that kill early, and so that they can find that Caitlyn out by herself and getting that kill on her. Truman, as we were talking before, play it safe, play it smart, play it well, and they can definitely win this game. The goal difference is not much, and neither when it comes to objectives, although that Southern Alberta has already got drag. But Truman was there to focus on grubs, getting all of them there, not allowing Alberta to get any. We're seeing some great objective clearing from Truman here and focusing on that. Those focus going both ways for both teams. CT needs to back here in order to get some mana up, but getting that amazing root there, looking for some to stop any action from Quiana there. But you have to back here. You don't have any more mana to do anything. This is a position where you need to somehow either freeze lane or push, get shove lane, and then get that back there for CT. Luma is doing an incredible job still, trading with that Jax and really stopping him from doing much, trying to get that first kill out here. And both teams are playing very well here and playing it smart and recognizing where and when to fight their battles. Got the stun on Luma. Luma got that level, being able to stave it out a little bit longer, getting that extra damage on the Jax. Ooh, and the knockback, and Luma is circling around, trying to keep that Jax still engaged, and Horse comes in there and looking for that kill. Oh, the kill on Jax for the first blood, but Jack is still there, and he's going to be able to fight with the Jax and getting that first kill for Truman as well. They're now tied with Luma getting that assist as well, so it isn't completely detrimental for Luma and Lane, as they both are very equal on CS and aren't too far behind on gold both ways. We're seeing, oh my lord, seeing a complete dive from Southern Alberta, getting the kill on Nebulous under tower with the Volibear with that ult, and ulting there from Zyra as well. Southern Alberta, when it comes to the spot lane, is playing incredibly aggressive, and I think they probably know that they have to. As someone who watched the games from the previous year, they probably they might have seen some of Nebulous playing, knows that Nebulous plays a little passive, and they recognize that and are using that to their advantage with a Horse stealing the enemy blue. and getting that control ward out there. We're still seeing CT still in lane. I don't think that back has happened yet. No, wait. I think that first back might have happened, but it hasn't happened yet. We see Luma trying to trade again with the Jax, knocking him back and trying to find in a better position, trying to get that barrel down. Truman is still trying to figure out something out here when it comes to bot. They're trying to find a position where they can catch them out while having a little bit of a level advantage. Oh, not anymore, but having that little bit of a level advantage, trying to find where they can get those picks. CT has gotten that back now and trying to find where they can get those damage. Lumina is in a good position here with Garrus having that heal as part of that passive and that active. Having that heal gives Garrus the ability to be very sustainable in lane, especially against a more bruiser champion and Jax who would normally rely on a Conqueror to get that healing back, but now has to rely on Grasp to just build tank, but that is it's not going to be very well for Truman here when it for Alberta here. Luma is getting that kill under tower and rotating, recognizing that Volibear is coming there, and the Jack is there and getting that knockdown on the Volibear. The Volibear had used ult already, but it's almost up. Truman has to play that safe in order to get out of there. Oh, and we see the ult from CT trying to get the Quiana down and getting some good damage off of there. Hopefully trying to finish it off with the Q, and they're switching back over to the Volibear, getting a great kill off there by Luma and by Horse, getting those CCs in there and getting that ult in from Horse. Truman, and another amazing pull from Orchid, trying to get that under tower, and we see CT trying to finish off the job that was almost finished beforehand against that Kiana, and we see here from Blue Orchid trying to find a position where they could possibly get a pull under tower. There it is, and the flay forward, getting the hits off, trying to get that kill. Oh, almost there. We see some fighting for the grubs down bot between the Jax and the Jack as they try to fight for it. But of course, the Jack waited and waited for for Jax to be in his Jack animation in order to use that ability and to get that last grub, getting all grubs for Truman now. As I believe is going to be switching over into Rift Herald. Lumen is still trading up top with trading up top still with the top with Pepper. We are seeing from this match is a way more even at this time, and I think that has to come from Southern Alberta's strategy of playing a little more aggressive, as they probably realized that their little bit of passiveness wasn't working for them well. And a great play from Truman here, getting at that W and then the hook on it to get Horse into the fight. And now Truman just has to play smart in order to try and find that kill there, but nothing was happening. Oh no, I turned away to cough. It's just as CT died there. Truman playing back, knowing that, waiting for, knowing that objectives had just gone down, as Southern Alberta got that other drag, that kill on CT. But Truman is not in a bad position here. They're both even on kills. There's both objectives are being met for both teams. There isn't any towers down. But Truman's bottom tower is looking a little dangerous here, as plating is before even plating has gone down. Wait, no, never mind. Plating had gone down, right? Yes, plating is down. Truman is looking to defend that tower before they can try and get that. And we see some fighting up here from Luma again, trading with the top laner, and it is working very well for Luma here. Oh, that great ult, knocking it back and back in with another ability to get another kill on that Jax there. Getting 3 kills and getting that tower as Southern Alberta trades with them with the tower below. now exiting landing phase, I think Truman is looking possibly to continue to push bot with Nebulous, and probably seeing Blue Orchid go in and try and switch into the mid lane in order to help CT out and possibly get some kills here. We're seeing Volibear going after Luma as Luma knocks him back and away from the fight, but Zyra and Quiana are both there, and so Truman has to pay attention to what's going on their map if they want to make sure this fight goes well for them, and it is. And well, with the Volibear ult, Luma is going in and getting that kill on the Zyra, finding where they can get those picks. Zach Horse is not worried because they still got the ult up and getting that kill on the Volibear. Luma has to play it safe there, not to die from any of the enemy combatants or any of that PvE, but that kill on CT by the Quiana, and the Truman has to back up here, or they're going to lose a few more deaths here in the form of Thresh. Luma was able to get out there, but that there's going to be a shot by Caitlyn to the Zac, and the Zac got back in there and stole the Rift Herald from Southern Alberta and gets out of there without even wasting the passive. That was an incredible play from Horse in recognizing where they could use their advantage there, as Southern Alberta was scrambling to get those extra kills out there. Now Truman is in a position where they got to play a little. They're still up in gold. They're still up in kills, not gold, but they're up in Rift Herald. They just have to play it smart. They're down drags, and they just have to play this smart here in order to continue to get these kills, and work together to watch the map and seeing where they can get those kills out. Southern Alberta is playing well, getting the drag. Getting their jungle cleared and looking for positions where they can find those out. And Luma found the Volibear down a bot, getting out of that attack, but Luma has to play it safe, knowing that that there's probably Quiana was probably switching over from the bot. CT's dealing with 2 mid and trying to play it safe, knowing that a misplay here could possibly be the end of a life here. Just have to play it back, play it safe, know when to go in. Definitely poking the heck out of their Zyra and causing their Zyra to back off and possibly back. And now they have the advantage in the 2v1, unless they're switching. But they're not. They're trying to rotate the drag, having Zac set up, getting rid of those control wards, and getting rid of vision here. Zac jumps into the drag pit as they're trying to get this drag done over quickly. Paying attention to where the enemy team is playing. Luma is down there, getting the amazing root by CT on the Volibear, stopping him from doing anything. But they have to play safe here, or they might get killed by just pure numbers and health, and that's what happened. Seeing a kill on the Nebulous and on the Zac, as they were purely overwhelmed by numbers there. And just being a little more low health as Southern Alberta gets the drag here. But another kill for Luma, as Luma continues to just mess up Southern Alberta, getting the slow there, trying to look for the kill on Quiana, getting another slow, getting the knockup down, and and getting the kill here. Luma is just on a rampage. Going 8-1. They have if they play smart here and play to their advantage that they now have in Luma, having that such a beefy top laner so early can be very, very well, can mean very well things for Truman as they get another tower, as they look to set up furthermore for the next objective. Looking for They definitely are thinking about possibly going Baron with the vision that's already there, but I think they are not in the position to have that team fight yet unless they play well and know where to position, because they have to play now. They have to play around Luma. Luma is their sort of their win con when it comes to team fights. Now, as Truman got pushed out of bot lane because of just the poking ability that comes with Zyra and Caitlyn, it can be really hard for a Twitch Thresh to really do too much. But we see Truman making the smart play here and getting the split push for their bot lane, and we see Luma continue to stifle any pushing that they try to get in, tried to crash in bot lane, and they're just playing smart when it comes to their lanes and trying and not trying to play too aggressive, because they know that besides Luma they're a little behind when it comes to the rest of their lanes, and so they just know that you have to play it safe. Getting an amazing stun and a W on the Caitlyn. Oh, just to get barriered. That was a very good play from CT, getting almost the kill there. And that is what we're hoping to see from CT, and I think we'll continue to see it as Luma rotates around looking for anybody that's lurking around in the jungle. CT is still looking for any Qs that hit, but the Volibear comes in there, tries to get the stun off with the charge, but it's stopped by the very well-placed spell shield by Morgana. Morgana has to know that there is somebody in that jungle there, but they also know that there's still people mid lane, and if you push in too far, you're going to get caught out. And CT did know that, using the vision that they had. Illuma goes in there on both of them. I don't know if that was the best play, going into 3-on-1 on that, or a 2-on-1 to begin with, but almost 3-on-1 there with the Kiwana coming there. But now Truman is in the advantageous position, finding that Volibear out. Truman, all they have to do here is if they turned around and had if they, depending on what what spells or what abilities Luma has up there, they could have gone in on that and possibly got a kill or two. But I understand the wariness that comes from switching back and pulling back there. Truman also using their vision here to see that that Southern Alberta had people coming down bot, and they saw that, and so they made a switch, pulling both their bot lane back, and everybody's recalling, trying to set up for that drag that's going to be coming up soon. I think that's what Truman is looking for here, and it's what Southern Alberta, of course, is looking for here as well, as if they get this one here, they have soul. But Truman, they have to have good positioning here. Positioning is what is going to win them this fight, because they have to be able to get, of course, a pick first would be great, and they might be able to get here with the Kiana, as Kiana was trying to go up for Nebulous, and they're getting that good pick on the Kiana, and that is somebody that they were definitely worried about when it comes into team fights. And so Truman is feeling a lot more confident here, going to be able to just push in and getting that kill on Kiana, as she was trying to, just seeing the Nebulous, but Nebulous was bait, and it worked very well. Truman has to know that Volibear is still up, but Volibear isn't too much of a threat. Volibear can be CC'd the heck out of, and then they couldn't be doing anything. And Volibear can't even flash in to possibly get that smite in, as the horse is still down there, and being able to get that ignite on the drag and stopping Southern Alberta from getting soul. Although Southern Alberta gets a tower, putting them up one on Truman, I feel like getting that Drake there was more important for Truman, trying to stop that soul. Southern Alberta continues the split push, and Truman is also returning, trying to stop any of those freezes in lane, any of those clashes that's going to be happening because of minion waves. And Truman is looking around, possibly trying to find if the Southern Alberta is looking for that Baron. Southern Alberta is now having to think and set up for that next drag. That is their main objective here, is to try and catch them out where they can find a pick, get that pick, and then get that drag finished and done with. But if Truman can play it smart here, do what they continue to do, which was have very good vision and being able to tell where the enemy is positioned, and being able to catch Alberta out when they can. This game is a lot more close as we saw from the last one. Oh, big damage coming from Luma, but that under the tower is a little dangerous, especially when you're split pushing. Luma is ahead, having already 2 items and building almost to the third. But Luma has to play safe. Luma is their carry right now, and if Luma doesn't play safe, Luma is going to be caught out, and then they're going to lose that carry position that they have with that bounty. And so they just have to play safe, and they have to play back. Sorry. Truman is doing a good job, also doing that as well, recognizing where and when they can pick their fights, and knowing when they have the advantage there. Truman is also doing well with vision, knowing who is where and when, having vision throughout, just in one part of the jungle now, but that is where they are most tightly positioned. When it comes to Truman, trying to push that bot lane, trying to get that carrying, trying to get some damage on that on that Twitch. And I think we can you'll definitely see it as Twitch gets that more farm, as more team fights happen, and Twitch can get more kills here. I think we'll definitely see some more damage coming out of Twitch as Luma is continuing to do damage. We're seeing a very good spell shield from CT, but CT has to play safe there, knowing that they don't have a tower to fall back on, but they do have Horse. Horse isn't a tower, though. As well as Horse can, as well as good as Horse is as a player, it can't save you from everything as well as a tower can. So Truman is just having to play it safe and try and find an advantage when they can. Truman is with this push in the bot, they are playing it very smart, knowing that they are down 2 when it comes to drags. And if they continue to push this bot wave, they can always be in a good position to set up for drag. And they're always in a good position to set up for drag. And as we see Luma get another beautiful ult off and into that ability, getting that another kill onto the Caitlyn. And that's a very good position for Truman as drag is going to be up soon. Of course, Caitlyn is probably going to have enough time to get back and do drag and be in position there. But Truman is now setting up possibly for Baron, or maybe they're looking for the kill here on the Volibear, getting that knockup. Volibear's running away, knowing that he can't win that fight against that 3v1. But Truman is trying to find this pick here. I believe they're trying to find a good pick. Here so that when they set up for drag and when they are ready for drag, they don't have to worry as much for those for that full team fight. If they can get a pick, it makes it much easier to get the next, and then winning those team fights. I believe that's what Truman's looking for. They could possibly be doing that as they've done before, with a little bit of baiting with the Nebulous, as intentional or as unintentional as that was there for Truman before in that last drag fight. And Truman is setting up here for drag. They are rotating around. They have the whole team here. They have to play their numbers. They know that they can play their numbers well because they know that Jax is up top. I don't know if they necessarily know that Jax is up top, but they know that that they have to get this drag here, and Southern Alberta is out of position when it comes to it. For Southern Alberta to win, they know that they have to have a full team there, especially against Truman, who had their full team. They had their full team ready and prepared for that drag because they're looking for those drags. Although Alberta probably recognizes that they could probably give up some of those drags, they have to know that they're behind on kills, which could make some difference here. Although being up on gold, Truman and Alberta, it's a little back and forth when it comes to objectives. Truman is almost a little ahead, being able to get all those grubs, and looking for that push. Getting Jackson coming out there, a great flash from CT. By the root behind by Zyra, and the attempt to ult there by CT. There was an attempt there. There was an attempt to get out, but there so much CC from the Jackson Zyra just couldn't do it. Couldn't make the difference. But that isn't too much of a worry for Truman here, as Luma is very tanky, but Luma has to get out of here. Luma is in a very bad position, and there's the kill on Luma. Jack is also in a bad position here, probably going to get the kill on Jack as well. And now Truman have to play it. They have to continue to play it safe here, and they also have to they have to find where they can make the difference. Truman is still trying to split push bot as they're getting the kill on the Kiana there. I think Southern Alberta knows that they couldn't get the full push in there without the Baron. And so they're looking for the Baron here. Truman continues to push bot. They are looking for the Baron to try and get that kill, or trying to get that Baron buff, and trying to push all the way as far as they can. Hopefully looking, as they were doing before, trying to find a pick that they can get. But if they can't get that pick that they're looking for, they might end up wasting the Baron buff. Or they have here where Jax is teleporting in, trying to stop the bot lane from continuing to push. And Truman has to think, what are we going to do here next? We have to figure out what our game plan is here to regain some ground in this momentum. You can definitely feel that the momentum is swaying back into Southern Alberta's favor as they're looking for a way to end this. But Truman has to continue to but Southern Alberta is probably going to try and put Truman in a pretty risky situation here by they know that Truman, in order to stop Southern Alberta from getting this drag, they have to, or to stop Southern Alberta from continuing to push bot, they have to do something for them. And as Southern Alberta continues to push for bot, Truman themselves are pushing too top, but the damage output that is being done to the base is just too much for Truman here, and I'm not entirely sure, but if Truman can make a defense here and stop Southern Alberta as they're doing, and they continue to push with Luma coming in and doing some incredible damage, getting both out there, and a incredible Q by CT getting that kill. Truman is now pushed them up as far as they have pushed up on them as well into the base. Although there's going to be the kill on Zach there, and Southern Alberta still has a little bit of an advantage in towers, as Truman has lost both top inhib tower and has lost the base tower and Nexus tower and another inhib tower on the bot lane and an inhib. Truman, with that kill, with that kill on the Volibear, Truman is looking to position themselves that in for that drag. And I believe Southern Alberta knows this, so they're going to use this to their advantage. Southern Alberta knows that Truman has to do this drag, and so they are going to look for the kill, or a kill here, and stop Truman from doing this. And if they can get that pick, especially on somebody like Luma, this could spell the end for Truman in this game. And a pick from Southern Alberta here on Truman could mean the end of this game, as a pick can mean that and we see the Infernal Drake. Oh, I didn't even see that Kiana was pushing top, getting that trying to get that other tower, and Truman is loses the fight down in drag, getting Southern Alberta getting multiple kills there, as CT is the last bastion of hope for Truman here, defending the Nexus from the enemy team. And CT has to do whatever they can, trying to that miss on that Q, and there's not too much you can do here for Truman. There definitely good plays from Truman here. That was a much longer game for Truman, for both teams, as there was some definitely good fighting and definitely some even play there. Now that after that game, we are seeing both Truman and Southern Alberta tied, and I think what we'll continue to see here is that Truman might go back to their previous lineup, switching out their subs in back for their main roster. There was a very valiant effort from the subs, trying to do their best. But I think as they get more experience, they're definitely going to play better. I don't think that was a bad game from them at all. That was very well played, and there definitely was some good plays there by the subs, especially from CT, getting some pretty good cues in there, from Orchid getting in some nice pulls, but it just didn't pan out how Truman was hoping for. I feel like we could have seen possibly a little more from the bot lane there, but they were just poked out the whole time. No fault of them. Playing that matchup against the Caitlyn and a Zyra can be pretty hurtful. Because of just how much poke, and against an assassin and a Thresh, it isn't the best position for Truman there. We are just now switching back over after that game into the next game for Truman. And I think what we can see here is that I believe that should be Halo. So we're probably going to be seeing a switch back from this, like I said, from the subs into the main roster.
I would concur that is definitely what is happening right
Yeah,
now.
I would assume so, as you've joined me back.
Yes, hello.
I feel like that game was not a bad showing from Truman at all. I think you guys did some good things. You played well, and it was going well until it just wasn't. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about what just happened, but most of it is just we gave it a pretty decent effort. There were there were some misplays. I misplayed by being top at that drag fight. That's like one of the biggest things, definitely, from that game. There's other things that you can get into, but I'm not going to talk about like comms or anything like that. Like we had our own like way we were trying to approach it, and it just didn't work out. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes you play a game, you go into it, and you think you're going to do really well, and then you don't lock in, or like something else happens, and you're just not present.
Yeah.
So things like that happen. So I mean, putting the main roster in makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't want to drop a game like that. It's just really unfortunate. it doesn't help when two of your pools are kind of like banned out.
Yeah.
We saw banned out either banned out. Either you get banned out, like for one person, like we saw that they took. So Nebulous is really good with Jin. Jin is his main champion, so they banned the Jin, and then after that they look to ban other people out. And so they banned me out. They
I
banned
saw with the Nami.
yes, they banned the Nami and they banned the Nautilus as well. I was kind of expecting like a third ban, but they really only needed to ban those two. I might have to run back. Okay, a new game started, so I have to run back and
Okay.
I have to fix this. So.
Okay. I think I was unsure of what was going in there, as I wasn't as familiar with the sub picks when it comes to it. I know Nebulous. I knew that Nebulous was a Jin player, and I had forgotten. My bad. But banning that Nebulous pick wasn't too great for Truman, as Nebulous was definitely looking for that pick, and it's a little bit of my fault as well. Again, not recognizing that Southern Alberta would have looked into the subs. I'm not because I wasn't entirely sure the subs would be coming. I remember the talks with the team that they were talking about bringing in the subs in, especially in a position like that where Truman has a 1-up game on them, but they did a little more research than I gave them credit for, knowing who to ban when it comes to the subs, banning the Nautilus and banning the Nami when it comes to Orchid, and banning the Jin when it comes to the Nebulous, and what was the other bans for Southern Alberta? There was the Nautilus, there was the Nami, there was the Jin.
Yeah, it was a Mumu, Jin, Nautilus, Nami, and then their last ban, I think it might have been a Mordekaiser. I'm not exactly 100% sure what that last ban was. I just can't remember off the top of my head. Of course, later on, we'll be able to see what those bands were. We'll be able to review over it. Unfortunately, we don't have the capabilities to look back over the game and things like that. Fortunately, I ran in there to fix that because it was a rehost, and our coach Halo was already on top of it, so I didn't really have to do anything. I did check to make sure that we were on the right sides, because we could have switched from blue to red. So that's the one thing I ran back for, was to make sure that we were on the right side, because I don't want to have to run back and forth. Of course, I could have changed it whenever we switched back over, but it would have ruined the flow of it. So back to what's up. What's going on here? So we're going to see both main rosters go back in. To my knowledge, Southern Alberta does not have an alternative roster. It is just they have 5 players, and then they have their coach. And then for Truman, they've got, of course, we already know they've got 5 players plus 3 subs. Yeah. So, I mean, they have the advantage to flex those players, and they can flex those players if needed. It was interesting. I'm happy to talk about the draft phase, because our draft phase was really interesting and really fun.
Sure.
So, not to go into the nitty gritty of everything that we were talking about, but so our draft looked very weird from the start, and there's a reason for this. The first 2 people we drafted were Zach and Morgana, and the reason for that, and I think our third
wasn't your first pick Gargus?
No, Gragas was our last pick.
So it's just the way that it showed up.
Yeah. So our picks went. Whenever we were in the actual picking phase, we went Zach, we went Morgana, and then I want to say that we went Twitch next. So the reason for that is very interesting. We were doing a double flex, because if we saw a better mid laner, I would have got the Morgana. And if we saw something that we want to do something else for the jungle, I would have got Zach. So it was a double flex into me playing one of those 2 champions.
I noticed that, because when I was looking, I could only see the side for Southern Alberta, and so I was questioning all of the picks that were happening. And what came to me, I was like, well, Zach, I know Orc could play Zach.
Yeah.
But there's also the Thresh, and so I was very confused.
Yeah,
what was going on.
so the Thresh is what we ended up going with. It looked like a really good Zach jungle game for Horse, and that it was a good Zach jungle game for Horse.
Yes,
and then of course, the Morgana in mid, it wasn't the worst call in the world. I mean, you're able to dodge some of those stuns or like block some of those stuns on the Kiana. So like our team composition, I don't think was bad at all.
Yeah, and I think CT played that very well there with the Morgana. There was definitely some plays in there where CT got some great cues out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely know that I missed a couple cues. Definitely in that bot lane.
It happens.
When you go fishing, you don't always catch something. So
That is
true.
That
And I'm
is
not
true.
a big fisher, but I am a big person to throw hooks in bot lane.
Yeah.
So sometimes you catch them, sometimes you don't.
I think their main issue when you weren't hitting those hooks was you gotta question ping them, and then
That's true. If I would have gotten more question pings from my teammate, honestly, I think I would have tilted and then played out of my mind. I think that's the gameplay that you really want to see.
When you're playing a hook champion, you have to tilt. It's the only way that you can play.
100%, yeah. And I mean, there were times like that I started finding my groove, and I had that one flash hook under tower under the Kiana when it was a 2v1.
Yeah.
Kiana was just chilling there, so I'm like, all right, she can't dodge this.
Yeah.
Literally, my thought process was she can't dodge this because I think she just dashed. So I was like, all right. I really didn't need to dedicate the flash there, but that gave me just a little bit of extra time to actually complete that hook. So I mean, yeah. That was kind of my thought process. So there was a little bit of weird stuff going on in the background. There's supposed to be like about 5 minutes that's limited to doing switches and doing subs and all that stuff. But there was a little bit more time needed. There were some technical difficulties too. That loading screen took forever, and that was due to technical difficulties.
Yes, I also noticed that as well. When I was going back there to switch the screens when it was loading up, I was like, "What's going on?" Because I was like, "Gosh, this is taking a long time."
Yeah.
And then I went back there, and then when I got to the screen, it was like spectator vision broken, and it completely brought down the whole screen.
Yeah, okay.
And then I had to reconnect, and then I was a little freaked out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit funky,
Yeah.
It was funky for us too because we spent a lot of time. Honestly, I don't think it was intentional, but Southern Alberta kind of did an ice the kicker strategy in football, where we just took so long in between those two games that I don't know if that was the strategy they were going for, but at least for me, I know that my nerves weren't the greatest when I had to wait 20 minutes for the match to start when it should have only been 5. We should have discussed, picked, banned, and got right into that match.
Yeah.
So it definitely it got to me.
The nerves is definitely a huge thing when it comes to that. And I was talking about that beforehand, having these new players, and it's that it isn't always going to be as cohesive as your main unit, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, and it wasn't a bad thing here for Truman either, as we still saw some really great plays from the subs that came in, but as we're switching back over to the main roster, what do you think we're gonna be saying here?
So it's interesting. It just depends on what bands we're gonna see come out, and it's gonna be a mixture of what bands we see and what we think that Truman's gonna be able to get away with. I definitely feel maybe that you want to go back to the bread and butter, the classic Bees, Horse, Blitzcrank, Zeri. I think that's a really fun comp that they could go with.
If I could see a Blitzcrank today, I would be a very happy camper.
I think honestly that could be something that you could look into. It's hard to say what you should expect going on into this game, just because. Obviously, we don't get to see the draft. We don't get to see them deliberate about what they're going to draft. It'd be really cool if this was a real Worlds. We see them on the stage and we see the bands and we see them talking through it.
That'd be cool.
We don't get that perspective. We just get to see them thrown at our faces.
Gotcha.
But I definitely think, given what they banned last time, respecting the Amumu and respecting
Is that a normal pick for Horse when it comes to the jungle?
So So I think they were expecting like this is an off roll pick for Horse, which it is. Horse's off roll would be jungle.
Yeah.
And so like usually that's one of the champions you might be comfortable with.
Yeah.
That's the reason why you saw the Nautilus and the Nami bans specifically. If you go into my ranked play history, currently in this split I'm undefeated on Nami and I have like a 80% win rate on Nautilus. So
Yeah.
they probably needed to respect that. I respect that they respected that.
Yeah, that's a yeah.
But I don't remember what your original question. Oh, the Amumu, yes. So like being able to take something away from jungle, I think was part of their priority, and then also being able to shut down those other avenues like Nebulous Nudes full gamer tag Nebulous. Nebulous has over 400,000 mastery on Jhin. So if you take one trick away, usually they have to flex onto something else. And then on top of that, taking the Caitlyn too, which is his other best champ.
Yeah.
You put him onto his third best champ, and usually that's the one you're least comfortable with. So you have to roll with the punches and be able to flow with this kind of like changing of the pace. So that's like they did a good job of isolating like who they could target specifically, and they went for. It was really interesting because they went for bot lane, which makes sense, and then they also dedicated it to the jungle pick, and then of course I can't remember what the last ban was on their side.
The world may never know.
Yes, honestly, I wish I could go back in the VOD right now. I don't think it was necessarily like the biggest ban in the world. I want to say,
I watched it. It's just not coming.
Yeah, I can only remember the first 4 bands and not the very last one because it was exactly Amumu, Jhin, Nami, Nautilus, and then whatever the last one. Hey,
picks.
Look at that. We're gonna get to pick. All right, we don't have to talk about last game at all anymore.
I'm very curious when it comes to the Southern border going into this next game because we have seen a very strong showing in both games from Luma, and if that continues going into this next game, I think there's going to be a few bans targeting Luma just specifically, and they did it the first game as well. They picked some bans that were targeting very specifically Luma, and that is Vayne. Last game, I could not remember the name for Vayne, but that is Vayne for the first ban.
Yes, Vayne. Yes. And I mean, Vayne is really good if you're gonna, respecting the Vayne, respecting the Maokai. They were very successful with their game with Maokai, and Maokai is just kind of an annoying champion to face up against. So I respect the ban there, of course. The Shen ban, that makes sense.
Yes.
Luma was, very successful on the Shen last time.
And these are similar bans that we saw from Truman the previous game. I think these are the exact same bands that you guys had, right?
Very, very close to, if not identical, currently.
I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, now we're looking for the. I'll say they were going to be predetermined. So the Volibear, that makes sense. The Volibear was probably their strongest member on that team.
Yes.
Just with what they were able to put out there.
Mordekaiser band, the Volibear. There was definitely times where Volibear.
Renekton. We've seen a little bit of Renekton play. I believe we've seen a little Renekton play from Fiora. Yes, Fiora probably the matchup. I think really favors Renekton in this case.
I think with the movement that Renekton has and just they think that the natural lifesteal that he has kind of favors. It's just we have seen. Luma do it very well, and when it comes to Fiora, it's a lot about positioning, and I think we'll see that very well. I don't.
The Gragas ban makes sense, just because.
Oh, because
because they do all the bans and then they do their pick phase.
Yes.
Yeah. So all the bans go out, then they do their pick. So that's how it works.
They targeted the heck out of Luma there, targeting Halo a little bit there with the Kindred and the Amumu ban.
Yeah, really. They respect that. Oh, Jinx Lulu. That's a very fun lane. I mean, you've got 2 very beefy top. Laners in top, and then you've got the Enchanter on the Jinx. That's going to be very strong. Caitlyn, Zyra, another poke lane from them. Honestly, it's kind of like the bread and butter. It worked. It worked well last time.
Yes, that was something that I wanted to point out was you got in here was the pick against the Thresh and the Twitch was with the Zyra and who was
it? Was the Caitlyn. It was Caitlyn Zyra.
Sure
yeah, because they took the Caitlyn from Nebulous.
Yes. The Caitlyn and the Zyra. That pick is the exact same bot lane we saw from the last game, and what we saw from the last game was that they poked the absolute heck out of the bot lane, and I think that's what they're looking for here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so Truman's playing a very interesting game because if top gets ahead, top is going to be an absolute side lane menace. There's going to be very little that you could do against a Renekton who has a couple kills up on you, trying to do anything in the side lane. You have to dedicate at minimum 2 people. Definitely would have to dedicate the Nautilus ult. You probably have to 2 to 3 people would need to be taken if it's a fed Renekton. And then at the same time, if you can't get that fed Renekton, he's still going to be strong in those team fights. And then you have an extra backup case. If Jinx gets ahead, it's also just a very strong game from Truman. So they have 2 really strong champions for the win condition. Of course, Syndra's in the same boat. She's going to be very strong if she gets ahead. And even if she's even, she's going to be able to put out a lot of damage. The difference, I think, in these teams here is kind of like how they want to play. Southern Alberta is definitely like a divier team, but they have some backline presence where Truman is definitely like kind of a front to back. You know, you've got a strong front line, you have the poke that's going to be able to happen. The thing that they have to respect here is the Nautilus and being able to jump on top of you, and the Kiana, the Nocturne. Thank you. The Nocturne and being able to jump on top of you, and then the Kiana as well being able to jump on top of you. Like those are the 2 big things. And then of course being able to watch the Zyra to make sure that she doesn't get a big ult on you too, because they have a very good, strong ability to zone you if you take the wrong fight in the wrong area. Whereas Truman, if they can get them into an unfavorable area where they're not set up, it's going to be a very big difference in the way of Truman's advantage.
I think something that we're also seeing here in this game, which I'm a little surprised by, it was last game. The Southern Alberta went with a little bit more of a more normal comp in the way of having a little bit of a tankier build.
Right.
With the Volibear and oh my gosh,
You're talking about last game?
Yes.
Last game. They had the Kiana, Caitlyn, Zyra, Volibear, and then they had their top laner. They had a top laner. Their top laner was playing a champion.
Oh shit! I just watched this.
I was just in that game.
Anyway, they had 2 tanks.
Yes, they did have 2 tanks.
Jax.
Yeah, well, Jax is a brawler, bruiser. Not quite the traditional tank, but he does have a lot of pressure to be able to get on top of you.
Yeah, a little more tankier, and that's what we're seeing a little less here from Southern Alberta. Is that they have that bruiser.
Mm-hmm. The Fiora.
But they don't have that proper tank.
Right.
And I think that was almost a fault of them last game, or the first game, was that they didn't have that proper tank that they could have, and it kind of set them behind by not having a very well-rounded team when it came to those team fights, and so those picks that Truman was looking for were very easy to make. But they sort of curved that in the form of Nocturne, as Nocturne is a very hidden assassin who can play very well to not being there and then being there with his Nocturne's ult. And so it's a little bit up there in the air how that's going to work for Southern Alberta, but I'm not 100% having a
I was a stare down. Sorry.
Yeah, so the 3-pronged position for Truman and the blue. I think that's 4-pronged.
Yeah, so traditionally you would want to have 1 in each entrance to the jungle, and then probably somebody mid. I mean, that's going to get you. That's a 5-prong. It's just to prevent any kind of invades.
Yeah.
It's really just to prevent you from getting wards or anything like that. I definitely feel there's different energies on both sides. I think Southern Alberta definitely has the momentum on their side because they just won that last game, and you can kind of tell, like, Kiana's taunting a little bit. I mean, that's kind of normal, you know. There's nothing else to do other than kind of dance around at the beginning of the game. This is going to be very interesting if they're able to pull something off. They don't have the polymorph here, but that is going to be some very nice chip damage into the Zyra there. And then this mid lane is going to be basically a story of how well Meliora is able to poke at this Kiana. Kiana doesn't have too many answers for Meliora unless she fully commits to getting on top of her, and the Meliora's got a very good get-off-me tool.
Yeah, I definitely think that we doing some more damage to the Zyra here, getting that poke in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Lulu is very strong in this position, and this is going to be very interesting. So I think, Fiora's probably going to get this level 1 first, and she's trying to commit, but she messes up her timer there. And then we're going to switch back onto the bot lane. Yeah, so the timer, it should be that we're going to see a Renekton get his level 2 first, and there's going to be the level 2 first. He's going to commit a little bit and try to zone off that Fiora from the fight. And then we're going to see a little bit of just, around the map where you have to check in with everybody here. So, yeah, Renekton is very strong in this position. He's very strong up until level 3. Fiora's got a strong early game too, but Renekton's going to be just slightly stronger, being able to sustain just a little bit better. And, of course, Fiora having mana is going to make a big difference here. So they're going to be able to trade a little bit. There's level 3 for the Renekton here. And then we're going to take a little bit of a trip there. Yep, there's the very nice get off me tool, but also a very nice poking tool coming out from the Syndra. And there's going to be the commit there. She knows that she doesn't have any of the cooldowns to get her off, but she's going to be able to trade a little bit of damage back. There's the electrocute proc, and a little bit of damage there coming out from our bot lane there. Bees is getting a little bit of a poke on that Caitlyn. Caitlyn forced to use that pot. Looking into this matchup here, it's definitely a reversal of what we saw last game with Truman on the red side now, Truman on the blue side being able to push up the poke lane under their own tower, which is very interesting. Usually you don't see poke lanes get stuck in this position. Nice little dodge there on that on the Zyra QE there. And then we're going to see a little bit, nice little get off me tool. Doesn't get the stun because you don't have an orb there, but that's okay. And then a little bit of jungle action. Bot's going to go ahead and grab the reset, and we're going to see a very interesting 1v1 in top lane. Unsure if the Nautilus is good, or the Nocturne is going to be seen there. Nocturne's now walking over the ward for Truman. Truman's got to know that this is a 2v1 here. Dedicates the flash. That is the right play there. You see the Nocturne. You know that Nocturne's going to dedicate that. But the advantage is you're going to see that there might be a fight over this scuttle here, depending on if Sejuani wants to take this fight. Sejuani is a little bit stronger, having the tankiness and the CC to be able to take that Nocturne out. Definitely makes this look like it's going to be a little bit of fight. And Meliora has a little bit of better positioning here, and the mid laner is also half health. So this is a better position. Truman does get that scuttle, and it looks like they might be going for the double scuttle here, given that mid lane just cannot roam in this position. Very, very good dodge from Luma there. That was very, very clean, being able to dodge that and not give the stun away. The flash coming out, and then I don't know, Truman did get that, dedicating the flash there and then being able to dash over the wall. Interesting. Being able to get the double scuttle is very strong. Ooh, a little bit of trade there. Flash dedicated in the mid there too. Honestly, that's to be expected. Meliora is playing this very, very well. The only thing that she has to watch out for is that's a very big Q from the Renekton. The only thing that Meliora has to watch out for is that mana sustain. A little bit of poke there coming out from Bees. Yeah, this bot lane is just doing very good at preventing them from doing too much. There's about a 9 CS difference, and that's kind of it's not as big as you might expect it, but clearing a little bit of vision here. It looks like that Sherman might be looking to get a dragon off. Both of the mid laners are going to be back up in a fresh way, with fresh waves, but it is going to be a little bit on Truman's side for the rotations. And of course, having the bot under their tower by Truman is going to put them in a better advantage here. We see a little bit of a ward there go out from the Sejuani, and we're going to see a little bit of a rotate towards the dragon here. I don't know if it's a solo angle or not, but at least something's going to be going on. A little bit of a disrespect there, just recalling right in front of your lane opponent, but sometimes you just got to go for it. Root lands on Bees. Bees is going to get the traps out, and Caitlyn is forced to walk around. This is a very bad position for Caitlyn. The polymorph's going to come out, and then the W out from... Yep. And she wastes the barrier very, very late. There's not much that you can do there as Lulu Jinx, other than, the root's going to come out, and then Truman's going to have to back up here. This is a very bad position. You're going to see the Ignite come out there.
Oh, and the heal on Truman.
Yep, heal has to come out there to keep that up, and then Horse is going to have to walk backwards there too. A very bad position, but we do have the Sejuani coming in. Truman's best case scenario is to be able to at least force them out and maybe get a kill here, but the Kiana is rotating down too. I don't know if Truman knows, but...
Truman does know. Truman definitely recognized that. But hitting Kiana a little bit there.
And it looks like, the double ult from the Kiana is going to be very strong. The Ignite going out on the Horse. And then we're going to see an ult trade here coming in for the top lane. And it is, So Fiora did not get her it doesn't look, I cannot tell if, though the flash dedicated out there, I don't think that's a big regeneration. I don't think Fiora got all 4 of her vitals there.
No.
it definitely looked like there was still one remaining, which made the difference in that fight there. But Truman dropping first blood in the bot lane. I believe that death was onto the Lulu. Not the worst person to die first, but it is going onto the Kiana, which is going to make this mid lane a little bit harder. Nocturne being top here is very scary. He does not have ultimate, so I think in best case scenario, if Luma plays this correctly, he gets out. If he plays this even better, the flash is dedicated by the Nocturne. If he plays this even better, he can get a kill onto...
Oh.
Yes, very, very close. The level up timer there for the Fiora is what made the difference there.
Yeah.
And more poke damage coming into that top lane. Into that mid lane. A little bit of a lull, a little bit quiet here.
Zyra.
We're seeing the roam from the Zyra up until mid. A little bit of poke damage coming out there. Looking for the E. Yep, you have to flash that. If you don't flash that, you have to walk backwards towards the Kiana, and I think that's an angle where Kiana does in fact kill.
Yeah.
So you do have to respect that. We do see the Sejuani hover here, and knowing that she does not have her ulti makes this a little bit easier, but don't really have to commit anything.
No.
Southern Alberta does pick up those not the Krugs there. I'm sorry, the Voidlings. So it's 3-0. Truman is going to have to play to make sure they just don't get that extra one, or else they're going to have the Void Grub buff. And this 1v1 is very interesting here. Two ranged champions going out against each other. Dodging the Q there is very big for bees, and getting the traps behind.
Yeah.
The traps do pick up the Zyra, but it doesn't look like there's going to be enough damage.
And
Zyra's going to ult. The flash ult of the Zyra is going to be very big, and just not having the positioning. It was almost perfect that you could get there. Dedicating the ult there. That was 3 ults out from Southern Alberta to just the one, I think. That Truman dedicated, or 0. Truman didn't dedicate an ult to that fight. I apologize.
No, yeah, they did not dedicate any ults to that fight.
But the difference maker there was, so the Zyra E with the one that roots her, those planes do slow, and that made the difference. Lulu wasn't able to get in front, and she didn't have flash to dedicate, so there was no way that she was going to be able to stop the Caitlyn ult.
I think
I thought that was just a clean steal there.
I think Southern Alberta is doing something very well here, which is they're recognizing when they can take the fights that they want to take, and I think they were definitely wanting to see that when it comes in the terms of Nocturne. Nocturne allows you to just pick fights. When you want them.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've seen that very successful. And Mankato last week played the Maokai and the Nocturne, so being able to lock everybody down and then just get the Nocturne play was very strong. I think Truman might be looking for a dive here. Either that, or they're just looking for a good position to get those last few grubs there. Either or, I think that's a great position. Yep, shoving it under, gonna get the reset for Luma, so they're in a better position for the grubs. Is what it looks like. We see the Nocturne's gonna look for the invade here. Probably just gonna throw down a war. There's nothing for him to steal other than the Krugs. Ooh, very good. Yeah, very good get off me too. And dedicating the ult there was perfect. Knowing that she was gonna go in, you have to get the ult off before she gets invis there. That was very beautiful.
Yeah.
Truman now. Has to respect the Nocturne.
Yes.
They don't know that Nocturne is around. They haven't seen him on vision. He went through the top side of bot jungle. So playing safe is very important here.
I feel like Truman recognizes that they don't have enough minions to continue that mid fight, and they now can just see that Nocturne going through there.
Well, they didn't see the Nocturne going through there. The tower vision doesn't quite go up that far, and they didn't have a ward there. But we're going to see the dedication of the Renekton ult there going to go on, and then you don't really need to spend much more.
No.
Fiora dedicates her ult, and then there's the Nocturne coming back through. That's going to be the Lulu ult into the E. That's going to be the ultimate coming out from Caitlyn and from the block was very good.
But,
the 3 ults again to take down the bot lane is very, very rough.
I feel like Southern Alberta here is looking to just shut down lanes where they believe it can be shut down, and they're just trying to do that with as many ganks as they can possibly get, trying to get their bot lane as fed as possible and trying to get that pushed in. But if they keep on focusing only the one lane, it might be detrimental to them if they don't continue to help this mid lane where we see Truman is excelling in.
Absolutely. I mean, look at that CS difference.
Yeah.
Almost a 50 CS difference. Meliora is known. We've seen Meliora in two of the games that we've watched this player play in so far, be able to take over the mid lane. And honestly, I think the Syndra into the Kiana was something that they were looking for. I don't know necessarily if that's exactly what they wanted, but we might see the Fiora dedicate her ulti here. She's not going to dedicate it yet, trying to go for the Vital, but
doesn't
maybe
have it up.
Yeah, maybe over committed there. Yep, and the healing that she's getting and the true damage from that is very, very big.
Yeah.
It's a rough situation for the Renekton. Renekton has to play safe in this situation. Flash dedicated onto, and then there's going to be the flash from the Syndra, and then there's going to be the ult coming out from.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not quite enough damage.
Yeah.
You saw not 2 ults, but 1 ult, a flash. Dedicated there, and then Truman's going to try to make something. The ult coming out from the Sejuani here going to be onto her. She's going to be able to get a dash out of there, and that's going to be a clean backup here. Going to posture just a little bit, but you got to recognize that the Nocturne was just mid, and that is going to be a very quick flash, and then the ultimate coming out from the Fiora going to be killing on the Renekton.
Southern Alberta is doing something that Truman was doing in that first game, and really picking out fights where they
Ooh, bees with a rocket onto the Caitlyn.
Picking up fights where they can know they can win, and when they have better positioning. Truman has to play safe here.
Yep.
They need to get this win. First off, this game is this is the last game of the night, and it's important.
100%. Best of 3.
But what's even more important is making sure that you have vision up, especially when you are in those positions where you can definitely see where they're posturing into a more offensive stance. Especially when they know that the Swajani is still there.
Yep.
They know the Swajani is still there. If they're posturing that way, that probably tells you that there's something that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you do have to play with the idea that people will bait you, and there's going to be the flash forward from the Caitlyn. Caitlyn's going to be looking for that ultimate here. It's definitely what she's searching for, and
the slow on Caitlyn. The Swajani's coming
we
down.
do see the Sejuani coming from behind. We saw one of the ults come through on the Zyra. Zyra's going to be going look for the Q. There's going to be the ultimate coming out for the Caitlyn, but the Caitlyn doesn't know that Sejuani's there. Sejuani's going to commit onto the Zyra, but it's going to back off very quickly. If that stun landed, I definitely think something would have happened there. Big damage coming out here at the ultimate.
Kill by Meliora.
Meliora is definitely in the best position out of anybody for Truman here. Definitely with the CS lead and the kill lead. It's looking very well. It's even on kills, but one less death means a little bit more XP.
Yeah.
Very, very good there. Truman being able to save both their bot laners, and Luma's doing a great job of being able to bully this Fiora a little bit. I mean, he's got the item advantage.
Luma's going to be careful, but was able to make sure that the Fiora didn't have enough time to get that ult out and completely screw.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the difference there definitely was Luma wasn't searching for the stun or anything like that, which I think what the Repose was trying to predict there was to try to get a stun or something like that. The ultimate and the healing, yeah. That's just rough. Not knowing that there was vision there, you can't really predict that there's going to be vision there.
Yeah.
Very big ult going to be coming through there. Truman's going to work off of that. That's going to be one stun.
And an ult by Jinx there, and the kill by Swajani on both of the Zyra and the Nocturne there.
Yep, double kill looking great for Truman. Truman's definitely going to get the second dragon here. Hextech Dragon's not a bad dragon to see, but so we're looking for...
First drag.
This is second dragon. They've already taken
that's the first drag for Truman.
Well, yes, but second dragon in the game.
Okay, sorry.
So yeah, there's a little bit of back and forth, but what are we seeing here? Ocean Dragon. Ocean Dragon, I think honestly, Ocean Dragon benefits both teams, but I think it benefits Truman the most to get it.
Yeah.
You have the Renekton, you've got the Lulu, you've got the Sejuani, you've got everybody that you really want that to happen, or to have that for.
Yeah, I feel like Dragon Ocean Soul is very good for any team that is going to get that soul.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is most advantageous for Truman in this situation, like you said, having that ability to beef up the tanks that they actually have, as opposed to Southern Alberta's absence of a proper tank, can really play in Truman's favor, as they can use that to their advantage. And we can see here, Truman.
Yeah, they're dedicating a lot of resources here, and she's not really able to do anything.
Yeah.
You don't have any vision there. There's going to be the ultimate coming out from the Fiora, but the positioning is really good here. That was very good positioning from Bees, having to force her to they commit to that side wall, preventing her from getting that vital was very good. They're able to get the double kill, and they're going to make something happen. Truman probably knows that they're looking at this Rift Herald on this top side. They just question picking, so they probably don't know, but they're going to be able to at least do something in bot lane and get a tower here. Dedicating the ult there for Melior. The flash forward is also very strong. If you have a W there, I think that definitely takes out the Caitlyn.
Yeah, there's some damage there, causing the Caitlyn to back off. Melior has to be careful there with the Zyra coming in.
Yeah, Zyra's going to commit the E into the ultimate there, and that's going to be a supercharged E plant there.
With the Ignite there, but luckily Melior gets out of there without being killed.
Yep.
Able to get the back. Truman has sort of the better footing when it comes to this overall, as finding they were able to do what they want to do, and is find those picks that they can exploit, like just as we saw there with that Fiora. If that Fiora continued to play against the Renekton, I feel like the Renekton wasn't going to. This is not.
Yeah. So see, here's what's happening here. I know exactly what Luma was doing there.
Yeah.
Luma was going for the tower.
Yeah.
Luma did not care for the Kiana whatsoever. Kiana had to dedicate her ult, and Luma did have to dedicate his ult as well. But I think that wasn't the worst play in the world, because you're forcing Kiana to stay up there, and there's something. I mean, you're able to make sure that there's some pressure top. If you got that tower, that would have been wonderful. But I think that the Renekton just didn't have enough lifesteal to make that happen. And then, of course, knowing that there was going to be that ultimate potential coming up from the Kiana is also very important.
I think this is a good switch from Truman to bring Meliora down bot to deal with the Fiora, because they recognize that Fiora is somebody that isn't going to be doing very well when it comes to poke.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they were able to get a kill off with the Jinx in there before, but they know that Meliora is even a not a better pick, but it's also a very good pick when it comes to poking out the Fiora as best as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to put that poke mage, somebody that's going to be able to play you from ranged against a melee champion who only has the one dash, that's the only thing that she can dedicate, is definitely a very big advantage. And they're having to switch this back up because they have to respect the Syndra in the bot lane, which means they have to send the Fiora back up to fight the Renekton. And they're both in pretty similar states here, but there is going to be a 2v1 in the top.
Yeah, Zyra's going to be coming in there, but dedicates the flash there, which was a very smart play. And Swajani's coming in there.
Yep, here's the turn
stun.
here. There's the it's going to be now a 3v1. You're going to see the ult coming out from the yep, and then it's a 3v3 now.
And this is where we see Renekton really shine in the abilities that Renekton has, and being able to use those to his fullest advantage.
The flash forward from Bees and the rocket!
That was insane from Bees.
Oh my gosh! I wasn't expecting such a dedication to getting that Zyra off the board, but I mean, if that's really what you want to do, like, that puts Truman at an amazing advantage. You've got 3 people down, and you've got Dragon coming up in 40 seconds.
Yes.
So that means Truman is able to at least get an advantageous position with warding, and you're probably going to be able to get the resets off, so you have that position to go for Dragon.
Yes. And now, Renekton. When it comes to Renekton, those team fights are really where he excels. Not having them all focus him specifically allows him to use that dash, which allows him to just go around the whole enemy team, and being able to get that Q off, which does an incredible amount of health steal, is very good for Renekton. And those positions are incredible, and the more that Renekton can find himself in there, the more that Renekton is going to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the most advantageous thing is you saw the Zyra E go out first.
Yeah.
And that was the most important part, because that's really the only thing that can lock down this Renekton is the Zyra E. Of course, if Caitlyn traps you, you're going to get stuck in place, but if she nets you, you're only going to get slowed. So that's not that much of a disadvantage. We're seeing the Rift Herald go up in the top lane, and of course it looks like they're going to trade the top lane for the Dragon here. Honestly, I don't think that's in their favor. And of course,
Truman can. Of course, Renekton is so good when it comes to these positions where it feels like he's at a disadvantage, but he can just simply win it.
Yeah, and taking this fight under the tower for the Fiora is really strong. They're sending everybody up except for the Kiana here. Truman's already got the Dragon, so it doesn't matter.
Southern Alberta completely abandoned the drag. Yeah.
I mean, so that's a very big knockup from the Kiana there. But yeah, sure. Southern Alberta had to commit 4 people and the Rift Herald top in order to take 1 tower, where Truman was able to get Dragon, And a tower. Actually, 2 towers. I believe that the bot tower, second tower, also went down at the same time.
Meliora, as soon as they after the drag was done, Meliora switched to the bot lane and kept on pushing. Which, great play by Truman, focusing off by getting that by causing them to continue to fight the Renekton, who they just kept on throwing people at, trying to get that tower, and because they used the Rift Herald there, they saw it.
Oh my gosh!
That was a great play by both Meliora and by Bees. But
and Bees is just going to keep going. Dodges the E, and then it's just the Caitlyn is going to take a lot of damage there. Dedicates the barrier. We're probably going to see.
Swajani is going to go in there. The Fiora is just getting bursted down by Jinx. Jinx was able to absolutely grind the heck out of that creep, and now is although it isn't. I mean, has double the kills compared to the Caitlyn, but isn't like egregiously ahead, but still has that that creep that allows Jinx to be now at 3 items.
Right. I would say that Jinx is definitely in a much better position than the Caitlyn. I mean, there's an 80 CS difference, there's a 2 kill difference, and if you look at Truman's team just in general, I mean, they've got about a 6k gold lead.
Yeah.
It's not the biggest gold lead we've ever seen, but it's still definitely a very noticeable gold lead, and I think Southern Alberta definitely feels that difference.
Yeah. What we're saying here is that during the early game, there was a little bit of a balance in between momentum, as both teams were trying to gain control over this game and gain control over the full match. Who was going to come out the winner in this game? But Truman was able to tip it over by using their advantages that they saw with the Renekton, and again. It is so
the Nocturne getting caught out here is very bad. Dedicating 1 ult, 2 ults. Yeah, Nocturne, there's no way the Nocturne gets out of that alive. And that's just a free Baron for Truman.
Yeah, there's a free Baron here, but what we see is that when Truman faces...
Ooh, this is going to be interesting.
Yes.
This is a 2-level difference, and the Get Off Me tool from Meliora is just going to be very, very strong there. It looks like they're sending 3 bot lane here because they know that this is a very dangerous position to let Meliora work here. We're seeing the TP come out from the Renekton, so Renekton's going to try to salvage this to at least make it a 1-for-1. Ult's going to go in.
You're going to get this most likely this next kill on the Fiora here if
there's 2.
Survive, there's 2, and going to get depending on if Renekton can continue to chase.
Yeah,
her, there's
the flash there.
That's 2 kills to 1. That isn't necessarily bad for Truman, and Meliora has deaths to give up. I don't believe Meliora.
This is going to be very bad for the Kiana to be caught out here.
Yes.
Showing and getting caught out here is probably the worst decision that they really could. The Rocket's going to miss, but that's just going to be a free kill. Truman has 3 lanes that they can basically push without anyone to contest it. They have 2 people down. Well, it's just going to be 1 here in a second, but Truman's in a very strong state with the Baron buff, being able to push potentially all 3 lanes at the same time. And then, of course, having the better position for this dragon is very strong too.
Yeah.
Especially, it's not Soul. You've got 2. This will be your 3rd dragon out of, 4 for the Soul. I have the hiccups for no reason right now. A little bit of the root and the E onto that Renekton there. It's not going to be too much of a difference. He's going to, just regenerate that health. It'll be okay. But we're seeing Truman going to go ahead. Truman is going with a 1-2-1 here, which is definitely not the worst thing in the world, especially when you're able to put all that pressure from the Baron buff. Southern Alberta is going to connect 3 to mid. You've got 1 in 4 to mid now, and you also see that the Kiana just respawned. Truman's going to be able to get that first tower, and it looks like Luma is going to commit to this fight. Probably doesn't want to commit too long. They need to get out of here.
Yeah,
Dragon is coming up very soon,
and they are going to continue. They're going to switch over to the Dragon. They are now in an advantageous position compared to Southern Alberta, as Southern Alberta is now anywhere close to the Dragon, but also they were able to completely kite them out with the amount of damage that Jinx is putting out right now. But like I was saying with the Truman in the comps that they're seeing going against them, is that Truman does very, very well when they play against a team comp that doesn't have a traditional tank, because they are very
this is
good.
Scary. But
Truman is very good at picking out enemies in the back line and just destroying teams via the positioning way, and they can win games that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Truman's in a very good position. The Baron buff is going to be running out very, very soon, but they're going to try to get at least one more tower bot here for it. And I think they're going to be able to pull it off. The only thing that I have to respect is the Fiora did show there. I think, honestly, if the Fiora didn't show there, they probably would have been able to do something good. But we see the Nocturne flanking here. He might be looking for the ultimate here. But we all also have to recognize, yes, this fight going to go on top there. There's not a lot that you can do. Oh!
Meliora goes with the Hourglass flashes and then gets out.
Yep. Rough that you have to dedicate Hourglass and Flash to that, but at least you do stay up and you do keep some of that pressure. And now Truman's going to have the 3 here. They do have the threat of the Renekton. Going to have the ult come out from the Zyra, and they're going to push forward just a little bit. Not too much. Meliora is in a very interesting position here. Getting the ward up is very bad.
Oh.
Yeah. Got to be able to see the ward, and then they dedicate the TP from the Fiora, which means Bot is actually in a better position now that they've dedicated 2 people top. Bot is still not, they're not working with the Baron buff anymore.
If somebody who we have seen time and time again is going to get that kill on the Kiana and then focus down on the Fiora, and if we're just going to see it again here and get the kill on the Fiora.
That Death Dance is just so strong, and just for that TP, Truman is going to be able to get another dragon and probably a double kill here.
Double kill here on the Jinx, and now you're getting an inhib.
Yep.
Truman was even looking for that last kill.
Yeah, Bees said, if I can get all 3, I want all 3.
Yeah, thirsty and looking for kills.
Bees had a plate, and he said, all right, I want everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Truman's in a very good position. They should be able to get all of these towers here and all of these inhibitors. Just with the timers, they're probably going to look for the end here.
Yeah.
Renekton's going to come up. We see the TP coming in from Meliora, and that should be just the end of the game there.
Yes.
There shouldn't be anything that they can do there. They don't have the respawn timers. Truman should be able to clutch this one out here.
Truman just has to focus Nexus, and that's the end of the game.
Yep, being able to keep that Nocturne off of that. Truman does get the W.
Yes.
2-1 victory over Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, the full title. So
that brings Truman to a record of 1-1. And
that's 2-1.
Well, 2-1. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I was avoiding the Maryville, but 2-1.
Well, still they played the game,
they
so
played the game.
it's what the record says on the NACE website, so that's what we're gonna go with.
And it brings Southern Alberta to
1-3.
1-3.
Yes, 1-3. So. Thank you all for watching the stream today. We greatly appreciate you coming in and staying with us up very late tonight here.
It's very late.
Yes, about a 3-hour stream. We had some technical difficulties, other things that went on, so we greatly appreciate everybody sticking around and joining us for this. We hope to see you in our next stream.
Yes,
well,
of
we
course.
do have a stream coming out on Thursday. Smash Ultimate is going to be playing at 6 o'clock Central Time. So if you're interested in seeing Smash Ultimate play, that would be the time to do it.
And you don't have to stay up as late either.
That's true. It'll be at 6 o'clock instead of
It's
8:30.
6 o'clock. It probably will only last 2 hours.
Yes, this is true.